2025, the 336th day of the Sex Offender Administration. A New Jersey police chief, Carmen Venenziano, is facing domestic violence charges in Massachusetts after prosecutors accused him of assaulting a woman at a hotel earlier this year. What's the point of having handcuffs and a billy club if you can't use them at will or against a woman's will? A U.S. official tells ABC News that the U.S. Coast Guard is in, quote, active pursuit of a sanctioned dark fleet vessel that is part of Venezuela's illegal sanctions invasion, close quote. A dark fleet legally refers to a cargo ship using false credentials to avoid sanctions. But with Trump, a dark fleet could just mean that the crew has brown skin. U.S. Senator Cynthia Lummis, Republican from Wyoming, announced Friday that she will not seek re-election in 2026, retiring at the end of her first term in the Senate. The 71-year-old veteran of Wyoming politics cited the physical and mental demands of the office. Lummis said, quote, I've come to accept that I do not have 6 more years in me, close quote. What she does have in her is contagious and harmful to Americans. Representative Elise Stefanik, a close Trump ally, is dropping out of next year's race for New York governor and is also packing her bags to leave Washington. Quote, while spending precious time with my family this Christmas season, I have made the decision to suspend my campaign for governor and I will not seek re-election to Congress, close quote. Stefanik said that it was hard for her to come by that decision or by any other means. This has been the Dr. Reverend Jelly Roll with headlines and punchlines for December 22nd, 2025, the 336th day of the Sex Offender Administration. Join me live at the Church of Last Resort on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on MindDog TV.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be interpreted as statements of
blabbity schnat.
Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
Nibbity
We
bliss.
got a cup of coffee in here, please.
Thanks for the podcast. This button is somewhere. We're up here. Button. Might as well before I sleep.
Damn,
right here.
and hot.
Oh shit! Now? No?
My dog is your mind's best friend. My dog is your mind's best friend.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
Yeah. Oh. You want to laugh? Laugh at me. Not with me. Read another book. I'm a little late on the book. No, better prepared. You just don't walk into the studio last minute. I'm going to do a show. Oh, good morning, folks. It is Monday, your favorite day of the week, right? Everybody's back to work. Everybody, you know what? First full day of winter today. That means it's 89 days till spring. I can't wait. Can you wait? I don't know. What's the by the way, what's the by the way, the way is by that way. What's she say? Significant date, special date, a certain date in March. Is there a certain date? The reason I ask is I got a email. I had an ad out about custom paintings for the holidays by Matt. Hey, that's me, by the way. And somebody wrote to me and she said, it's a little too late for Christmas. How about a certain day in March? Okay. What certain day do you have in mind? I don't. Is there a holiday in March? I don't know. What kind of painting? Who gives gifts in March? Give me a day where is it Purim? I don't know if that's even in March. Could be in April. It moves around like Passover and Easter and everything moves. Um, Certain day. Nobody gives gifts on St. Patrick's Day. I mean, that you want me to paint you a green beer? What do you? Somebody said the Ides of March. It probably was G.D. Fenderson. I think Dave Cobb also said it, tu Brute, which would mean I would paint Brutus stabbing Caesar in the gut, which I'm not that good. I would love to be able to, I have a song called Blood Money, which is about that. It's about the correlation between Judas and Jesus and Brutus and Caesar, kind of, stab in the back, stab in the gut, betrayal, all that stuff. But I don't know. So we'll find out. But if you have any ideas about, first day of spring, do people here's a painting because it's the first day of spring. Painting by Matt. And what do I charge for something like that? I'm going to do florals. Sure, I'll get you florals. No, speaking of paintings, disaster of a paint party on Saturday night. It's funny if you want to laugh at me, but everything went wrong. I was just such a klutz. It's Woodmere, Long Island, a very nice home. Marble floors. That's not flaws, floors. I sound a little Brooklyn there. Marble floors and like big oak table and all this stuff, and be very careful not to get paint on anything. And so I was very careful putting drop cloths and tablecloths everywhere, drop cloths under my easel. And they kept asking for paint, more paint, more paint. And at the beginning of the painting, everybody gets the same amount of paint. I got and we use paper plates instead of palettes because. Anyway, 5 colors, you get a little dab of each of them. I'm not using any more paint. I haven't refilled once. They're all refilling 10 times. I need more white, I need more blue, over and over and over again, like constantly. Like you're using too much paint right from the start. I said, just a little. If I say just a little, I mean just a little, and water it down. It's I'm putting on the paint like it's like you're painting a house. So this guy says, "Man, I need more white," and I go over to him with the white, and I hand it to him, and I guess it wasn't coming out of the squeeze bottle hard enough. So and these are big bottles. Took 2 hands of them, and the cap of the bottle came right off and squared out like the entire bottle, and his iPhone was sitting right there. Now his iPhone is under a pile of white paint. Now I'm thinking, I'm fired. He's gonna call up. You think I need to replace my phone? I'm like, oh Jesus, because like, what do? You can't wash off a phone, right? You can't put it under water. So it was difficult. And then I'm feeling bad. Now I still got an hour and a half to go in front of these people. And I'm just feeling like the total douche. Oh, you should have bought it yourself. You know what? Don't ever handle the bottle. What are all these fucking rules? Ugh. So I'm cleaning up now. I'll get done. And the woman, the mother, the wife of the guy who contracted the party is at the end of the table. And she's the last one painting. And I'm still cleaning up. She's overtime here. And I'm trying to clean up around her. And she knocks over. There's a bottle, a cup full of water where you clean your brushes off. And it's all purple. And she knocked that over, and it's all over the oak floor now. And there's like acrylic paint water everywhere. And I'm scrambling to clean this up so it doesn't stain stuff. And I'm just thinking, oh man, I am so. First of all, just so clumsy. So I've beaten myself up. Now I got a 3-hour drive home just to say, what a dick you are. Look in the mirror and say, what a dick you are. So not feeling good, and I couldn't sleep. I mean, I'm thinking. Yeah, and this is why I could never be a stand-up comic, or besides the fact that I'm not that funny. But I mean, one joke doesn't work and I go home and I want to kill myself. And YouTube, that's it's kind of a joke there. I'm not encouraging it. Stop with the fucking suicide nonsense. Anyway, I'm not, but that's how I felt. I mean, I just wanted to stick my head under a pillow and cry. I suck. I hate myself. And I can't imagine being on stage and having that kind of rejection, that kind of embarrassment, douche chills your whole fucking life. I mean, so especially if you're not a good comedian, you're still just working shit out. Anyway, today, before we get into the rap mode starts tomorrow, and all these fucking rappers, they don't pay attention to the instructions on the booking page that say, give me some fucking information about, oh, I'm famous. I'm a famous rapper. No, you're not. If you were a famous rapper, you wouldn't be on this fucking show. You're coming here to kind of try to help yourself get famous. Give me something to fucking work with. I'm a little too worked up for a Monday morning. I haven't really had that much coffee. Coffee. Yeah, coffee. You're waiting from New Jersey. What's happening on the turnpike? I digress. So they contacted the guy who runs this whole rapper organization, this syndicate. You dudes, none of them giving me any information. Oh, yeah, this is my name. I refuse to answer the question. You refuse to answer the question? How about I refuse to fucking talk to you? Just leave you sitting in the green room all day. Oh, he's back there. I got to calm down. Anyway, we're going to talk to Stuart Perrin about enjoying the suffering. He's a Buddhist. I don't know, Hindi Buddhist, whatever. And what is the thing? Ramkamka, Shanamka, Rudra meditation. Never heard of it. Rudra. And I've been talking to these kumbaya people for a long time. I don't know about no Rudra meditation. Anyway, you know what? I'll play you something so I can just bring the fellas in, because the fellas are here. Speaking of meditation, let's all alchemize and kind of.
Mind Bloom is helping people achieve life-changing clinical and personal breakthroughs, alchemizing both the psychedelic medication, psychiatric care from psychiatric clinicians, coaches we call psychedelic guides, and a lot of content and meditations and programs into this really transformational experience that, because it's delivered at home, costs a lot less and is a lot more convenient for people to receive.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, in the room with me now is a man who never spills white paint all over somebody's iPhone, fabulous GD Finisher. Good morning, GD.
Good morning, America. MindDogTV.com. This season, as you remember to share joy, please remember to share our programs and the links to our programs.
Hype it, baby.
It could be the one thing that is missing from the life of someone you hold dear. Go to MindDogTV.com/merch and make more investments, for the kids. Support the local merchandise and enjoy the suffering.
You talk about holding deer. Or are you talking about Willie? Because Willie wanted to hold the deer. Remember? I don't know if you
choke a deer.
Choke a deer, hold the deer. Well, hold it by the neck. I was just gonna bring Ron in. I wasn't sure he was ready because he's got horny snacks behind him or something. And with his horny snacks, you never know with Ron. Good morning, Ron.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I can't read your sweatshirt there. It's not a Mind Dog. It's not a Sunday will never be the same. It's not a Church of Last Resort.
Yeah, it's not one of the sanctioned shirts that we approve.
No, this is Terrell's top 5 T-shirt. He's a comic from Philly.
Wow, we have a guest today that is inspired by your teachings about enjoying he's a Buddhist, right? And that's what Buddhism is all about, and just in taking the crap that life and just dealing with it, and I don't know, be happy, always don't worry, be happy. Is that what Buddhism is?
No, you're supposed to enjoy the suffering. That's
right. Well, my life is full of suffering.
I mean, that's what Buddha is embracing the suffering.
I guess we'll find out from our guest in a moment about this. He's written several books on the subject. He gives online courses every week about something called, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Rudra. Do you know about it, GD? Rudra meditation?
Well, if I got this right, Rudra is actually a shortening of the name of the person who developed this particular meditation technique, but it's basically, if I got this right, it's basically Kundalini yoga, but it's with the Udra twist. But he could correct me if I'm wrong.
I've heard
Now
that Kundalini word so many times in my life, and I never
most
stopped
people
to actually
misuse it.
define it.
Most people have no idea what Kundalini is.
It's kind of like consciousness. Everybody says it, but nobody ever defines it.
And make sure you use all of your tongue when you're doing it as well.
All right. Why? Oh, you're talking to Kundalingus, not Kundalini or something. Oh, well, we just hit a dead end, So let's, before we bring my guests in and our guests in, because I was talking about enjoying the suffering and how I did not enjoy my suffering, how I beat myself up, torture myself over really stupid mistakes, and just thinking, I'm never going to see these people again. But to them, I'm the world's biggest fool, imbecile, jerk, and I'm not getting to sleep over it. I'm just beating myself up over it. How do you deal with that in comedy? Like, when you do a show where you bomb, or you just, nobody's laughing at a joke you thought was really funny. How do you deal with that? Because I could never deal with it. I would want to just, I couldn't handle it. How do you deal with it?
You just you learn to move on, and it's sometimes it's just a fight. It seems like that, if something's not going to land, it happens. You got to move on, because if you wallow in it, then
I wallow in it. I'm
then
a
it will
wallower.
spiral for you quickly.
Oh yeah, if you wallow, it's a death spiral.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
And this is the funny thing. I have told jokes that didn't land on stage with my wife in the audience, and it affects her way more than it affects me. My wife will say, it was like 5 minutes of silence, and you listen to the tape, it was like 3 seconds, 4 seconds. But for her, it was like, oh my God, it was so long. There's so much silence. But the lesser comedians wallow in it. Some of them blame the audience. You just have to, like Ron says, you have to move on.
Blame the audience. Yeah,
there are comedians that blame the audience. Yeah,
I've never done that. I'm just thinking back to the very first time I met my ex-wife's mother. She was living in
the audience.
She was living in Virginia. My band was playing at this club, and we had a bunch of guys. I need a sub. I can't make it that night. I'm sick or whatever. So like 3 of the guys were subbed, and people I never even met before. This is the first time my future mother-in-law is coming to see me play, and we ate a bag full of dog shit on the stage. It was terrible, and I just couldn't get over that, because I'm thinking, to this woman, first impressions are everything. She's never going to get over that fact that my daughter's marrying a fucking loser musician, a guy who just sucks completely, and I don't know what to do about it. And I'm thinking that's going to stick with me forever. And I don't know if I ever redeem myself on that. No,
you haven't.
What?
No,
what? How do you know?
You're still talking about it. I know.
Well, I'm still talking about, but you never met her. Because I'm just thinking she took that with her to the grave, thinking my daughter married a loser musician. Right? But you don't know that. You say I haven't. You didn't talk to her, did you? You had a conversation.
No, I didn't talk to her. She wrote me a note.
So
we never actually.
And she did so funny that how would you write your note? Where did she send that note?
Oh, carrier pigeon, of course.
Oh, carrier pigeon.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's Stuart, if you're ready for us to bring you in, just give us a thumbs up. We see you in the room.
He loves the thumbs up. It's a thumbs up meditation.
There's a thumb. There's a thumb. Right. Bring him in.
International Rudra meditation or Rudra meditation teacher for over 40 years. Stuart Perrin is an author of 7 books on meditation and healing. His books focus on how to transform life's tensions, like a bombing, or into joy and love in practical. Can I speak? Practical and accessible way. Born and raised in New York City, trained by Rudy, a great master of meditation and inner work, who blended ancient Eastern practice with modern Western culture. Is that good enough? Good morning, Stuart. Thank you for being here.
Good morning to you all. Thank you for having me here.
Pleasure.
Let me start with a very simple thing. Nobody enjoys suffering.
Oh,
Buddhists don't enjoy suffering. Hindus don't enjoy. Nobody enjoys. But people can learn how to transform their suffering into, an open heart, into love. But they have to learn how to work on themselves and to build a system inside that makes it possible to do this. But the idea that anybody in this world enjoys suffering it's almost ludicrous. Nobody does.
Then what about the people, and I'm going to use my first wife as an example, who just would not find joy in anything. Or I shouldn't say anything, because that's too absolute. In so few things, you could do wonderful things for her or with her, and she'd find the most smallest thing to make into a mountain so that she could suffer. I mean, there are people who, I don't know if it's enjoyment, but it's what they like. It's what they're used to, and they suck the joy out of everything. So, are those people just not enjoying the suffering? They're just suffering for the sake of suffering.
They don't know how to do anything about it. That's the problem.
that is the problem.
I mean, if you have the plumbing is broken, you get a plumber to fix it. And with people, so much is broken inside them that they never go and look for somebody to help them to fix it. And let me tell you a story, okay, that might shed some light on this.
Well, let me get comfortable.
When I was 16 years old, I was, I was in Miami Beach with my mother, my sister, having a great time. And we get a phone call that my father is really sick in the hospital. We have to come back to New York. And we went back to New York, took the first plane we could get back to New York, went to the hospital. My father was lying in a bed, shaking. He had 106 fever. He didn't know myself, my mother, or my sister. It was one of the most difficult things I'd ever been through in my life up to that point. Well, anyway, this went on for a week. And one day I walked into his hospital room. He was lying in bed in a state of total serenity. I could look into his eyes and see 1,000 miles. There was even light in the room. And I asked him if he knew me, and he shook his head yes. And after a few minutes, I got up and I left the room, and I met his nurse. And his nurse told me something that changed my life. She said, to her experience, just before people die, they go into a state of profound serenity. It's almost like an enlightened state. They have let go of everything. She said, every person she's ever had to deal with has been through this kind of thing. And I said to myself, why did my father have to wait 49 years to experience this state of serenity 2 hours before he died? And it completely changed. I mean, I was a pretty smart kid. I was going to go to college and get a degree and maybe a doctor, a lawyer, I don't know. And suddenly my whole life changed. I became a hippie. I was starting to read books on Zen Buddhism, Hinduism. My whole life changed. And I said to myself, Stuart, you are confused. You have a lot of tension in you. You don't know how to manage it, but you have to find somebody on this planet Earth who can teach you how to do it. How that you don't have to wait 2 hours before you die to become a serene human being. I spent 9 years traveling half around the world looking for this person. And I met swamis and rishis, and I met, all kinds of rabbis and priests. And they would give me all this love, peace, and eat vegetables stuff about how to get and I finally said to him, how do I get my mind to shut up? How do I get my emotions to shut up? How do I get my sexual energy to calm down? How do I get my inner chaos, in a state of peace? I never got an answer. And one day I was walking down 7th Avenue South, and I was, basically I was broke. I was 25 years old. I was broke. I had no money. I was living on the floor of a friend of mine's apartment. And he said to me, so let's go out and have dinner. I said, all right. There was a, Mideastern restaurant in Greenwich Village that we both really liked. So we're walking down 7th Avenue South, and we came to this antique store, sold Oriental art, Buddhas and Shivas and Krishnas and, Tonkas and all this Buddhist and Hindu stuff. And my friend said, "You love this stuff." And I said, "What am I going to do in there? I'm broke. This stuff costs a fortune. It's museum stuff. What am I going to do there?" He said, "It doesn't cost to look," which is one of the most, with that nurse, it became one of the things I'll never forget. It doesn't cost to look. I walked into this gallery, and at the center of this gallery, there was a man standing there. And I was attracted to him like a magnet. It was incredible. He started showing me pictures of him studying in India with a spiritual teacher, telling me about what he taught. And he said to me, "If you want to study with me, come back tomorrow night at 5 o'clock." And I said, I didn't know what to say. And as I was walking out of his gallery, I looked back and there was like light coming out of this guy. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. At any rate, we're walking, we had dinner, we went back to this friend of mine's apartment. He lived in one of these, railroad flats, $40 a month, bathtub in the kitchen, toilet in the hall, where you used to live back in the 60s when you had no money in New York. I was sleeping on the floor of his apartment. We're walking up the stairs and a guy invites us into his apartment, to have some tea. A guy named Ed Borden. We walk in the apartment. This guy has like a $500,000 Oriental art collection in this apartment. And I said, "Where the hell did you get all this stuff?" And he said to me, "There's a guy in Greenwich Village who runs a gallery named Rudy, who I had met an hour before in that gallery." And I said to myself, "Stuart, the gods are talking to you. Once in your life, listen." And the next day I went down to meet him. And this man taught me a meditation technique that I've been looking 9 years to find. How, not so much what I ate and what I believed in. I mean, you can be an atheist and believe this and grow. But how to fix my inner life so that I got strong enough to transform the suffering into something of an open heart, into love, into compassion, and to live that way in a place like New York City. It was an amazing thing that took place. And people say, "Well, it was an accident." And I say, there are no accidents in life. They're just things that happen, and we have to be conscious of them and make sure we take advantage of them and use them and find out where they can guide us in our lives. So yes, everybody suffers. Everybody's, and nobody enjoys it. Even your wife doesn't enjoy it.
Ex-wife, just in case she's listening, it's the first wife, not the current wife.
I think I have to. I got to give a little pushback. If she didn't enjoy the suffering, she would have never said "I do" to him. I mean, come on, look at him.
But I had a first wife too, and she didn't. She suffered a lot and didn't enjoy it.
I just want to say that you added a lot to my suffering, because you say there's no enjoying the suffering, and now I got 1 billion shirts and sitting in the warehouse that are not going to sell. Oh, I can't enjoy it because we have lots of shirts that say "enjoy the suffering" on them. That's kind of the logo of the show, and you just killed my business. Thank you. So now I'm going to be broke.
Your business, I don't want to kill your business, but you look in somebody's eyes, and you'll see whether or not they enjoy the pain they've inflicted on themselves, or the society has inflicted on them, wherever they get it.
I know. I appreciate your perspective on that. There's so many religions that believe that, like, the more you suffer, the more you learn in this life, the more you're completing whatever the purpose of your life is, the better your afterlife will be, or whatever. There are people who believe in that. I don't know what to believe in, but your story sounds like it would be better. It would be better suited to LA than New York, right? I mean, you don't expect those kind of spiritual awakenings in New York City.
I was born and raised in the Bronx, in a tenement in the Southeast Bronx, for God's sake.
Yeah.
I lived most of my life in New York.
Wow.
I met this teacher in New York. And when it was amazing, I saw somebody take New York and transcend it and take it and change it into something wonderful. And I said, "This is a miracle. I want to learn how to do this kind of thing." And he taught me how to do it.
Is there any kind of danger in looking for a guru or looking for somebody? Because I understand what you're saying. If your drain is broke, you call a plumber. But there's no. there's so many people out there preaching new age philosophies
Yeah.
and think they are they think they are, you know, masters of the universe, and they're really not studied that
Look,
well.
when you are ready to study with somebody and to learn from somebody, they will manifest in your life. You don't have to look for them. They
The
will manifest.
problem with I appreciate the, and I'm not arguing with you here, but in my life, everybody wants to come in and tell me what I should be doing. Like, I have so many self-appointed gurus and masters of the universe that it was generally in the chat room, or people who've been guests on the show. They come with this, oh, I can fix you. It's like, fix yourself first. I mean,
I agree with you there, and I tell people the same thing. Fix yourself.
yeah,
Don't tell me how to fix me. Fix yourself.
yeah.
If you fix yourself, I will learn something important from you. I
Have
agree
you
with you 100%.
have you ever been to the you know, like India or, you know, the Far East?
I've been in India 40 times.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, I used to have a business that made me go to India. I ran a gallery in New York for 30 years, two galleries I had for 30 years. And I used to have to go to India, and I also did pilgrimages in India. I used to go to sacred temples, and I try to find swamis and gurus, and I never found anybody who really affected me very deeply, except for one man, and he was a Tibetan Rinpoche that I met, and that was kind of a miraculous meeting in my life when
Wow.
I met him in Northeast India.
Tell me a little bit about it. Now, it's Rud, because the guy's name was Rudy. It's Rudra meditation. Is that what?
Rudy was made a Swami in India, and they called him Swami Rudrananda. And he used to always tell me, Stuart, he was almost embarrassed about being a Swami. He said, but I had to become one. It was the only way I could get the teachings from the teachers in India. He said, so they made me a Swami, and he said, in America, what's a Swami? You know, it's like silly almost.
It's like a sandwich you get at a deli.
Huh?
Sounds like a sandwich you get at a deli. You go
I don't know what delis
deli,
you're
you say,
going
excuse
to.
me, I'll take a Swami on pumpernickel, please.
I think he's mixing up salami with Swami.
I've never had a need to do that. I was never interested. I could have become that. Teachers have offered to make me that. I said, I'm not interested. I don't need a title in order to run my life. In fact, all it does is would crystallize me and keep me from ever really growing in myself.
What happened?
Now, one of the things that you teach, if I got this correct, is Kundalini Yoga. Now, most people have a misunderstanding of what Kundalini Yoga is. So if you don't mind explaining to the ignorant or to those who do not know what Kundalini Yoga actually is, and not what they learned from it from Sting.
Look,
you could have just pointed at me and said ignorant, and that would have been it. You didn't have to keep going up.
I don't think you're so ignorant.
You don't know him. Get to know him.
You're looking, and I think that's very healthy.
Yeah.
People that know are really much more dangerous than people that are looking. Anyway, Kundalini, the first time I ever heard the word Kundalini, okay, I was 19 years old working in a coffee shop in Midtown Manhattan. And I had a Buddhist manager, and we would sit and have these conversations about meditation, spiritual stuff. And I'll never forget, he whispered to me, do you know anything about Kundalini? And I looked at him and I said, no, I don't know anything about Kundalini. The second time I heard the word Kundalini, I was living in Paris, on the left bank of Paris. And I had a friend of mine who was also deeply into spiritual practice. And the two of us were really stoned about 3 o'clock in the morning, walking on the left bank. And he got down on his hands and knees and he raised his arms and he said, oh, sacred Kundalini in the sky. That's the second time I heard the word Kundalini. The third time I heard it, my teacher said to me, Rudy, said, you know what kind of meditation you practice? I said, Rudy, I have no idea. I don't care. All I know is it works. The rest of it I am not interested in. He says, you do Kundalini yoga. And he started to laugh. He said, Stuart, I was teaching this 10 years. And somebody came up to me and said, you know what kind of meditation you teach? And they told me I was teaching Kundalini yoga. And anyway,
what does it mean?
Let me get on, okay? In every human being, there's a system of chakras, energy centers that are located. The prime ones are located in 7 areas of the body. There's a chakra here, the third eye. There's one in the throat, heart, right below the navel, sex, base of the spine, and the top of the head. Each of these chakras is a direct link between a human being and higher energy in the universe. And people don't realize that the real power inside them is not here, not in the mind, but it's the chakra that's right at the core of their being, right below the navel. You know, when athletes get into the zone, you know, where they're really playing at the top of their game, they're always focused here. You'll notice when dancers are really doing beautiful dancing, you know, they're not in their heads. Their center is right at this chakra, this area right below the neck. That is the power in a human being. That chakra, by learning how to strengthen it and build it inside yourself, you can keep the heart open. The heart is like a flower. It needs stems, it needs roots, you know, in order to open. But we try to, you know, have emotions and love, and we try to think about things, and we do it without any kind of grounding inside ourselves and any kind of foundation. The foundation in a human being is this chakra that's right below the navel. The Japanese call this the hara. The Chinese call this the tatien. And it's the power, it's the real force of energy that exists inside a human being. When you open this chakra, there are 3 elements of life you have to deal with. One of them is karma, life, everyday activity, living in New York City, living in Los Angeles, living wherever you live, your family, your friends, your job, your work, and all the enormous amount of tension that is imposed upon one because of life. We need to be very strong inside ourselves in order to deal with our very karma, our life, the activity of our day-to-day world. The second one is spirit. Spirit is not some kind of queasy hors d'oeuvre that comes out of the cosmos. Spirit is, I mean, the Bhagavad Gita, they talk about when Krishna reveals himself to Arjuna, if a light of 1,000 suns suddenly appeared in the sky, it's energy beyond all human comprehension. And, you know, when people do drugs and LSD, and I'm not talking from not having done them, I've done them, you know, you get these experiences and they burn your system up. They really just burn, they're too strong for people. So they really just burn up your, anyway, when you have that grounding inside, you're able to absorb and receive that energy in amounts that you're capable of dealing with. You know, but if you took in the whole thing, it would be too strong. It would just burn you alive. Or you have karma, you have spirit. And the third element is Kundalini. Kundalini is a force that's asleep at the base of a human being's spine. And when you have grounding and you're able to bring in that Shakti, that energy, and you can deal with your life. You know, you look out at the world and your heart is open, there's compassion, there's love, there's joy. You become a happy person in your life. Understand? You can deal with life that way. You have learned to speak the language of higher energy on the earth. That will give you the strength to activate Kundalini. All Kundalini is the rocket ship. It's just the pathway to enlightenment.
So I think you described me, because most people, I think GD will agree with this, and certainly Ron will. Most people will describe me as like Mr. Happy, the happiest person around, and joyful and full of love. And right, guys? That's who I am.
They all turn away.
Well, maybe I'm wrong about that. Anyway, kind of. There's a couple of things there. You're talking about LSD and all these psychedelics. It sounds like I may have just burned. I'm hopeless then, because I've done more than Timothy Leary and everybody who ever followed him. I basically made probably the first quarter of my life was doing a lot of psychedelics and things like that. So I might be hopeless.
I belong to your club.
Oh.
First time I took LSD, I was sitting in the heart of the Buddha for 3 hours. I mean, it was one of the most extraordinary experiences, but it changed me also. But when I came down, I was completely exhausted. I had no energy. I had to sleep for almost 2 days, you know, and I said, no, it can't be this. When you receive that energy, it should make you stronger, more active, more energy, more creativity inside you. And I said, I need to find somebody who can teach me to do this without using drugs.
Okay, before we go, I don't want to make this about psychedelics. Have you ever experienced DMT?
Yep,
You have?
I have.
Because I have not, and I would love to, because people say what I've been told about it. Because what you talk about with the exhaustion with LSD and all those psychedelics, and the length of the trip, that DMT is like a short blast of that, and you're not like destroyed after it. So
DMT is much more powerful than LSD.
yeah, I just would love to experience it once in my life to know, because people talk about these little beings that come and mock you or tell you.
When I was like in my early 20s, I did that a couple of times, and the room became like atoms. I was on a flying carpet in that room filled with just atoms. It was very powerful. And let me finish what happened with this. I had a friend of mine. He was a young guy, a very close friend of mine, and he was the one who introduced me to this DMT stuff. And I did it with him twice. And I said, no, I said to myself, no, Stuart, this is too much. This is going to kill you. Stuff. It's too strong.
All right, let me come back to chakras, because in the mid 90s to early 90s to mid 90s, late 90s, I worked for a school of healing, and they taught energy healing, and they talked about chakras, and they talked about seeing chakras, and they talked about a phrase that came off often, even the first day I started there, was core star. And one woman said, I could see that you are here to serve us. I can see your core star is blindingly bright. But then they would talk about chakras and seeing these. Are you a person who believes in it? Like you can look at a person and see chakras, energy areas on.
I see that. I don't do this too often. I don't want to get involved in people's inner lives and do anything to insult them or anything of that nature. But the meditation I teach is about the transmission of energy, Shakti, so that the chakra system in human beings will open and strengthen inside them. And the purpose of it is for them to build their own unique connection with higher energy, not to be my disciple, not to be me to be the guru, but to help them build their system inside and develop their chakra system so they have a direct link with higher energy in the universe. And you can look at a person, you can see what's open, what's not open. They're in their heads, they're in their emotions. It's not a problem. You develop that kind of acuteness of sensitivity. And then I learned how to work with people that way, to nurture them in the areas that they need to be nurtured in themselves.
Do those chakras correlate to physical problems within that area? Because
Yes.
I joke around a lot, but I told my wife the other night I think my root chakra is shot, and she's like, what chakra? My root chakra. What do you mean by that? Well, I probably am stating the wrong chakra, but I think I got colon cancer and prostate cancer at the same time. I'm just so that's what I'm saying. I think my root chakra is shot.
Yes. When the heart chakra is closed, I mean, it eventually will lead to heart attacks, pain in the chest, and heart attacks, and all kinds of conditions. Most physical illness is a product of energy not flowing inside a human being.
So now, does this kind of meditation that you teach and practice, does that help with the flow of energy in those areas?
I wrote a book you should read, okay? I don't want to promote my books here, although you have one up here. But look, I wrote a book called Leah, Story of Meditation and Healing. And it was based on something that was a true story that happened to me many years ago. And it was a young girl who had doctors, she had cancer. She was 13 years old. And I was very close to her and her mother. And she got cancer. And the doctors told her she had 3 weeks to live. And the book is about the healing process through the use of energy and chakras and how I spent time. Anyway, 3 months later, they did an operation on her. The doctor came out of said, it's a miracle. We got the whole thing. They got the whole tumor. Wow. It was a miracle. They said they never believed that she would live more than 3 weeks, this girl.
Wow.
And it was all done. I mean, you can get this book on Amazon. It's called Leah. And, Richard Gere wrote an introduction to it. So, it's, and a lot of Alan Arkin did a blurb, and a bunch of people did blurbs about it. And you can get it on Amazon. It's called Leah, Story of Meditation and Healing. And it's it's not a very big book, but it's a really powerful book.
We have a question from New Zealand for you. Have you been to Mount Abu? I guess it's Abu. Abu changed my life going there. This comes from Heavy Kevin.
I've never been to Mount Abu, but I know a lot about it. But I've never been there, no. Okay. I've had friends that have done they walked around it and did all that stuff.
Now, people you work with, you do this online, like you do online, like video? How does it work?
No, I have classes 7 times a week on Zoom.
On Zoom.
I have classes. People attend from 4 different continents that attend these classes. I have them 7 times a week.
That seemed a little, I don't know, strange to me, like meditating in front of a computer, because and I don't know how true any of this stuff is, but I'm talking like the radiation in computers and stuff will affect the, this was when I was working with the School of Healing. They said stay away from, back away from computers, don't do what I'm doing here for the last 30 years or something.
I had the exact same feeling when COVID came. I used to travel all over the world teaching. And when COVID came, I couldn't travel anymore. I didn't know what to do. And people told me, why don't you try Zoom? I said, what the hell is Zoom? I had no idea what it was. And I tried it with students. Maybe 5 or 10 students came from different places. And it was really powerful. I was blown away. I said, this is really unbelievable. How can this work? And I started trying it with more people, and it worked. And people were getting enormous quantities of Shakti through this process. And so I continued I've been doing it for 5 years now on Zoom.
Sunshine saying auras. Well, auras are your energy field, which is kind of, now I don't want to try to explain this because I'm probably going to say it wrong. Why don't you explain whether it's the correlation, the auras and chakras? An aura is just kind of
your heart's open, your mind is quiet, you're balanced inside, and you're receiving Shakti and higher energy. Your aura will be almost golden light. When the heart is closed and you're full of tension and anger and fear, and there's like a grayness that surrounds people, and you can just see it coming out of them. So the chakras affect your aura in a very profound way.
I was thinking about this the other night. My first time I fell in love was one of these things of love at first sight, and I'm thinking that was recognition of somebody's aura. Like you're just, and I'm not certain about that, but I know this girl at the time. She was very much into aura photography and all that kind of stuff, and like looking at that stuff. But we were 30, 40 feet apart, and just like eyes met, and then we had to, we had to get to know each other. And that's what I think people will call it love at first sight, whatever. But I think that's just recognition of whether it's somebody's spirit or whatever you want to call it. It's just like something you can see and sense that tells you a lot about that person before you even know them. That's how I would kind of.
This is true. But the thing is, you want to sustain that. You don't want it to happen and then all of a sudden it disappears.
Yeah.
And suddenly, instead of looking at that person and seeing the light coming out of it, you're picking apart all their problems that you don't like. And that's because people don't sustain the openness inside themselves. If you sustain that openness in yourself, whatever you see in life becomes kind of sacred.
Yeah.
What is unbelievable,
Yeah. What is Shakti? Shakti?
It's spiritual energy.
All right. Now, how is that different from like chakra energy centers and
Shakti nurtures chakras. Shakti is, Shakti emanates from a source of energy that is infinite in the universe. And if your chakras are closed, you have cut yourself off from the source of creative energy. And all you're living with is your own tension. When the chakras open, that energy can flow down, and you can feel it and enter, and they develop the heart chakra. It develops your whole system inside, and you're connected to the source of spirit, higher energy in the universe, the energy that creates all great art, all great dance, all great music. Everything, really, everything in the world is a product of that creation. And we need to be connected to it instead of just connected to our egos, our mind, our tension, our insecurity, our problems, allowing these things to really drive us crazy. Instead of connecting to, we got to get the mind quiet. That's what meditation is for. I tell people meditation is not a spiritual life. Meditation is a craft that you use to develop a chakra system that enables you to connect with higher energy in the universe. Every book I have ever been written has been written that way. I don't write them, they come. I mean, it's like unbelievable.
Wow.
It's like Van Gogh painting a painting. How did I paint this thing? Mozart composing a symphony. How did I, it's creative energy that flows through and creates this magnificence in life.
Well, that's something I'm keenly interested in, is creative process, where this stuff comes from. And I do agree that a lot of the greatest artists I've ever witnessed in the creative moment seem to be receivers, like radio receivers, they're not really in the conscious world trying to create. They are just opening themselves up to a message that is there and being a conduit for getting that on canvas, getting that on a recorded medium or somewhat. And I'm fascinated by that process because I would love to experience more of it. I've had a few of those moments, but most of the time when I'm trying to create, I am trying to create. I am putting intent on creation.
It just happens. You're open enough. I mean, it's like, when I was younger, I used to study acting in New York. I did it for about 2 or 3 years. And one of the interesting things is most of the people that I met and involved, they were all very tense people, ambitious, angry. They were, crazy. Wow, and you stick them on a stage and all of a sudden this energy flows through them and it's like a miracle happens.
Yeah.
They have that talent to connect with the energy if you stick them on a stage. I mean, a guy like Van Gogh is cutting off his ear, living in an insane asylum.
What a freak.
Put him in front of a canvas and masterpieces came out of him,
That's all subjective, and all art is subjective, right? But I look at Van Gogh's work and I say, why do people, what is resonating with people? Because I don't get it. And that doesn't mean it's not good. It means that there's something, it's not speaking to me. But
that's true. I've always liked Van Gogh, but anyway, that's beside the point. The point is there is this creative energy, and you yourself said you want to find it.
Yeah. And some of the best work I've done, and this is my opinion of my own work, which is really, filtered. But I think the best work I've done has been a song that I wrote that came to me literally in a dream. And I had to ask people, what song is this? Did I write this or did I just make it up in my sleep? I don't know where it came from. And then it was a matter of, okay, I had this, then now let me get it out and record it. But it was a matter of producing something I did not put any effort into. It just came to me.
It came through you. Yes. And those are the most extraordinary creations,
Yeah.
We are a vehicle through which that energy works. But then at that particular moment, you were really open to let the energy come into you and work through you.
Well, that's the kind of trick, isn't it? To be able to get to that place where you were really open about it. And
honestly, look, it's what I try to teach in the meditation, how to get to that place. That's exactly all I teach. And I always say, you don't have to be a Hindu or a Buddhist or a Christian or a Jew or a Muslim. You can be an agnostic. You can be an atheist. Everybody wants to somehow reach that place, a place where there's happiness inside, there's openness inside, and they can be vehicles through which this creative energy flows, and it creates their lives.
I think Ron is in that place right now. I mean, he's usually very talkative. He doesn't shut up, but now he's like really deep in thought. So, or he's in the creative process. He's doing something. Maybe we lost him. Is Ron dead? Oh no, he's alive. Look, he moved. Okay.
His eyes are sparkling.
Yeah.
I'm alive, I think.
He's alive.
Now,
Yeah, you did. Go ahead.
I'll just say you'd mentioned that Ruger's basically his method of meditation is he westernized version of Eastern Kundalini yoga. I was just wondering what processes or what did he do to westernize it?
It's, you're saying westernized, right? Because it sounds
Yeah,
like
well,
my ears. I'm hearing weaponized.
no,
Maybe
not
just,
weaponized. Western.
weaponize it.
Yeah, because he's not the first to do it. Most people in the U.S. who've practiced or tried to practice Kundalini yoga are practicing a westernized version. And I was just wondering how his westernized version is different from, let's say,
I
another
got it.
westernized
It's my
version.
hearing. Maybe I'm conditioned to hearing the word weaponized so often because of the news cycle.
Well,
But go ahead.
Westernized. That's
Yeah.
anyway. Look, he was born and raised in East New York, in Brooklyn.
Oh, my people.
Yeah.
Pitkin Avenue.
He lived in New York all his life.
Chestnut Street.
He was in the Asian art business, and he had to go to India a lot, but he also had a guru in India for 13 years. And he learned the most ancient forms of meditation from these teachers. Chakras, connecting with infinite energy, how to use the breath, the mind. And he came back to New York, and it wasn't an ashram in India. He had to deal with the pressures of business, the pressures of living every day, the pressures of really having to make his life work in a city which was very intense and very demanding. So what he learned is how to use the breath and the mind as a way of developing the chakras and as a way of drawing energy through the sexual area to the base of the spine and activating Kundalini. That gave him the power to be able to run a business, to live and have relationships, have family, have everything that a person has living here, and dealing with a place like New York City, having to be strong enough to transform the tension he experienced every day into a spiritual life. I was raised in the tenements of the Bronx. I wasn't raised on some, little village in northern India, with gurus all around me and swamis. And I was raised on the streets of New York.
Well, let me just say it, because I'm out in the sticks here on Long Island. But I'm a New Yorker. And Friday I was in New York City, in Queens, in Astoria, Queens. But what a tension convention! Just being in that atmosphere is no place to. I mean, it looked like every place feels like you're in the car chase scene from French Connection, and I'm Gene Hackman, and I'm I mean, and it just filled me with so much tension. I'm going there to do a paint party, by the way, and what you said earlier about there are no accidents. That's part of what there were no mistakes. There were happy accidents, and we learned to work with everything and all that kind of stuff. But man, I needed a painting just to relax me because of the just the overwhelming tension in areas like
I was exactly the same way. I was raised in the Bronx, the streets of the Bronx.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some famous people that used to live in my neighborhood who became very famous, actually, and but they were good friends of mine. But we were all raised, and one things we all wanted was, how the hell do you get out of the Bronx?
Yeah.
We were kids. How the hell do you finally make your way out of this life we were living in? And finally, I had to, I just ran away from it. I had to get away from it. But I was raised there. And then I would meet people in ashrams and people in, swamis and this and that. I said, no, this is not the life that I was raised with. How can I transform the particular kind of life that I lived inside how can I transform this into a spiritual life? How can I learn to live in that environment and also be a happy person? And this to me was remarkable, to build a system inside that enabled me to function for almost 30 years in New York City, teaching meditation and running a business, having a family, paying the rents, huge rents. I rented this big loft and it cost me a fortune every month. How do I do this without getting crazy? How can I do it
I've been overwhelmed with people, and then this goes back to the idea of seeing, or but not being necessarily conscious of it. Whatever energy I'm putting out to the world, everybody I encounter, or a lot of people that I encounter in life, feel like they need to deliver me the message of you got to stop worrying. You're worrying too much. Like, how do you know that? It's true, but how do you know that about me? I'm just full with worry. And this is kind of the point I wanted to get to because we're short on time here of about you, whatever you teach, the meditation you teach. Is it something that you have to be physically aware of, like practicing this for so many hours a day? When does it become just integrated into your life so you don't have to be conscious of it and you could just, or is there a point where you can
Well, I think, look, I tell people that study with me, sit down for a half hour a day at home and do your meditation. You know, make a little altar somewhere and, picture and sit down a half hour a day. There are 24 hours in a day. We all waste a half hour every day. Instead of wasting it, sit down and do a little work on yourself. And then attend a couple of meditation classes a week, because the meditation classes are very, very strong. And they help people build that chakra system that I'm talking about. And you combine the two of them, eventually you learn how to do this independently of a teacher, and have your own connection with that higher creative force in the universe.
Wow.
Now, I figured there's 165 hours a week. I require that people attend my classes maybe 2 hours of that 165 hours in a week. Not a lot of demand. You can find time to do this.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's not fanatical. You just take that time and use it consciously to build yourself. And then it begins to change you inside. And the things that were driving you crazy no longer drive you crazy. The things you worry about, you no longer worry about them. You're strong enough to deal with them, and to deal with them with an open heart, with love, with a capacity to have joy inside yourself. And I always say, really enlightened people are not gurus and swamis and people that wear orange robes and all this stuff, smell from certain incense. Happy people are enlightened people. People that can maintain a happiness in their daily life and joy, and live with compassion, live with love, live with kindness, have patience for other people, have patience with themselves. They forgive. These are enlightened people. But find a person like this. It's easy to find the Holy Grail.
Patience.
Find people.
Oh my God. Patience is the one I've been trying to acquire pretty much all my life. I mean,
and honestly, that's all I ask from people. I'm not interested in disciples, or just find your joy, find the love in yourself.
Yeah.
Find your ability to live with the highest elements of your own humanity. This is what I learned from Rudy, because I saw him do it. And he really inspired me. I got to do this for myself.
Cool stuff. The book is called Rudra Meditation. It's available now at stuartperrin.com. You could also get it at Amazon, I think, right?
Yeah, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can get it from any bookstore that uses Ingram as a distributor.
And now the meditation classes, they sign up right on your website, right?
Yeah, they just come to my website, and then I have one of my students will show them a breathing technique, and they're welcome to come.
Is it always open, like constant? I mean, the waiting period full times when the classes are full?
I mean, it depends on the person. If somebody brings a lot of insanity, it's no, I'm not interested. But people that come with any kind of need for a spiritual life, any kind of need to grow in themselves, 100%. I don't even have a fee for this. I just do it.
Wow.
I told people, to donate money according to what their financial capacity is. I am not interested in charging a fee. If you don't have money, you're welcome to come,
Wow.
If you don't have money, you learn how to grow and have money, because it's just part of growth.
That's a rare thing where in the world where people are offering you something of value and not asking.
He's doing the open mic of meditation.
Well,
it's kind of like that, if my teacher would have asked me for a nickel when I had to study with him, I couldn't have gone to his classes. I'll never forget that.
Well, we definitely appreciate your contribution to the program here this morning, and I think some of the people in the chat room have been responsive to kind of. We didn't ask all the questions that, or share all the comments that were made over there, but we thank you for being here. People go to stuartperrin.com, and if you're looking for that, you're looking to transform all this anxiety and tension and crap that life brings you into joy and happiness. Maybe Stuart's your guy. Maybe Stuart's your Rudy. Anyway, Stuart, thank you for being here. I appreciate
Thank you for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You
Bye
too.
for now. Stuart Perrin. Kev says the Beatles wrote much better music after they went to India. I don't know. I don't know. How do you measure that? Do you measure that?
Well, I guess he measures him by what he enjoyed. Like,
well, yeah, it's what it's always comes down to. Like, who's the greatest singer in the world? No, it's not the greatest singer. There's no such thing. It's the one that you enjoy. Who's your favorite is the question you're asking. It's not
Right.
who's the greatest.
Right.
It's
that's why when people quite often people when they find out I do comedy, they'll say, "Well, who's your favorite comedian?" Well, who do you know? And it's like, well, I'm my favorite comedian, but there are a lot of them that are better than me, but I'm my favorite.
Nobody's better than you. This is a New York attitude.
God,
well, you think you're better than me? You're not. You think you're better than me?
There are at least 1,186,783 comedians better than me.
Not better.
No, more. I mean, technically better. I mean, I have a lot of technical flaws in my comedy, and I'm aware of them because I know what I'm trying to do. And when I don't achieve it technically, even if I get the laugh, it's like, yeah, but.
All right, let me. I'm just pushing back. I don't know. Feel like push back. Okay. How do you know that they technical flaws because they know what they're trying to do, but you don't know what they're trying to do, but they know what they're trying to do.
This is an unbiased commission. I don't make these numbers up. That commission, sends these numbers out. Once you're a member of the comedy hierarchy, send the numbers out to you.
Yeah, I never go around telling people I'm my favorite comedian.
Well, I you know what? I am my favorite songwriter. Well, I shouldn't say. Jackson Browne is my favorite songwriter. I am a close second. How about that?
Yeah, I don't even look at it that way. I just look at it as that comedy is something that happens.
It's something that happens to me while I'm doing dance parties, and the white goes all over that guy's phone, and then I want to die.
Yeah, but if that was being filmed, as opposed to happening to you, some would be like, "Oh man," they'd be laughing.
It would be hysterical.
They'd be going like, "Oh man, that's hilarious. How's he going to get that paint off of there?" And then somebody start thinking, "Well, you wipe off the ports, let it dry, and then peel it off. It's acrylic."
No, I came up with a roll of paper towels to get it all off, but then you still have and you have to wash the phone off. But to your point, absolutely, I'm thinking in the moment, this is hysterical. If I'm not me, and I'm not the guy whose phone is getting ruined in this moment, if I'm an outside person witnessing this is the funniest shit ever. But for me, in that moment, it's like, oh, what a douchebag I am, and all I can think about is while I'm loading the stuff back out to the car when we're done, they're just gonna be saying, "Well, can you believe that dick? What a fucking doofus! And
that will be more footage for someone to be like, "Oh man, I can imagine that having that. Yeah, that's your phone. That's your friend. Yeah, and you paid money for this or blah blah blah. Yeah, it'd be hilarious to someone else. Yeah. It's I have a bit, well, not a bit. It's more like a commentary during one of my sets. The difference between your mother being a drunk and your mother-in-law being a drunk is comedy, because when it's your mother that's drinking and passing out, it's like you're embarrassed. But for someone else, you go like, "Oh yeah, that's great." When it happens to the in-laws, it's hilarious. When it happens in your family, it's embarrassing.
You could just say wife too. It applies to it when your wife.
I could have, sure, but I know who's listening. I know my mother's not.
I know my mother's not. It all hooks a little too close to the bone for me.
That's what I'm saying. When it gets close to the bone, it's not as funny unless you can detach yourself.
It's funny now that it's all But,
when I interview comedians for Don't Way Past Funny, one of the things I ask them is, because if they're in a relationship, they've argued. they've had argument. You know, the best marriages somehow have arguments somehow, and in that moment, if something really funny happens during that argument, do you stop the argument to make note of it? Because sometimes comedy gold is hard to come by. It's
Yeah,
like, oh, this is
I
funny.
agree.
So
That's a
do you stop the argument and write it down, or do you let them win the argument so it ends so you can write it down? How do you do it once because you got that comedy gold and you don't want to lose it. You don't want to lose that moment. So how do you handle that moment?
all of it is very relevant to me. I get what you say. You know, there's those moments where I feel like so compelled to make this point now, but you know what? Maybe it's now's not the time. Knowing the right time to make that, find the goal. That's
So Ron, when you're in the middle of losing an argument with Laura, no, just and there's some comedy
Ron never
gold in
lost
there,
an argument in his life.
and there's comedy gold in it. How do you handle that situation? Or when do you find time to record that comedy gold?
Me and Laura really don't argue. We really never have. I mean, we've had disagreements, but we've never been to a point where we're like, it's just going back and forth. It's not us. I mean, what are we going to fight about?
Oh,
Wow.
yeah. Well, okay, disagreements then still, because there's still issues that sometimes need to be hashed out.
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff that happens, but I've never been like, oh, I need to stop and write something down. I mean, I think if something is that good, then you should be able to remember it.
Sunshine says, I've been enjoying listening to John Prine lately. I put a link in the chat room for a tribute that I did to John Prine right around the time he died. John Prine is one of my greatest influences. You talk about songwriters. This is a guy, for a lyrics first guy like me, John Prine is one of the greatest lyricists and songwriters. He's definitely on my favorite list too. So I just put that.
But I would also say that you're not a great arguer if you're stopping an argument because you're like, oh, I got to write this down.
You don't. You shouldn't.
People handle it differently. I was just wondering. No, like I said,
Yeah.
with me.
But no, I'm just saying overall. I think if you're having an argument, it's like comedy. It's based on momentum.
Yeah,
So,
but also you shouldn't. Nobody should strive to be a great arguer. I want to be a great arguer. This is my goal. I just want to argue and win.
Has an entire course that you
I
can
know.
take on how to win an argument.
That's not an argument. No, it's not. Yes,
the argument clear. Yeah, the argument clinic. Yeah. No, that wasn't an argument. That was an exchange. Yeah, I thought that was a great bit.
Yeah, no, great. Monty Python had some great stuff like that, and all of it.
But I know there's couples out there that just like to pick at each other every every day. Say I couldn't live like that. That's just
yeah. It's now when I'm in the stores and I watch older couples, they just don't give a fuck anymore.
You see me, my wife?
No, he'd be in the store and she's like, Herbert, you walk past the adult diapers. you didn't you say you needed some adult diapers? Damn it, Louise. They just don't give a fuck.
Wow.
To me, that is.
I think my brother was in the drugstore and I think he was getting like Viagra or something that you don't want people to know. And the woman behind the counter didn't know the price for it or whatever. And she I don't know if she was called, but she did over the loudspeaker. Oh, well, we need a price check on Viagra. And like everybody's looking at him like, adult diapers. Just shut up.
Something that happened to me would make me want to create a farm. It's called the pharmaceutical neighborhood rule. I was in the pharmacy picking up some drugs, and the person waiting on me was my next door neighbor's daughter. And I thought to myself, it's a good thing I'm just picking up vitamin B12 and cholesterol, because if I was picking up something, let's say for a scratchy, itchy, dripping thing, my neighbor would know. And so I came up with the rule that you cannot work in the neighborhood where your pharmacy is. If you're working pharmacy, you have to work in a pharmacy outside of your neighborhood. That way you don't accidentally run into your neighbors and accidentally find out what they have, itchy, drippy, oozing, whatever.
Sunshine says, I believe in the power of positivity. to what extent? Because I was thinking about this last night. We have people, I'm not going to mention, I don't know if you know about what I'm not going to mention about, but there are people who are positive with no evidence to support their positive outlook. And there are people who are negative who, oh, maybe it's your negative beliefs. But with that, but I would, I have much more to be positive about being a negative person, much more to be positive about than some people who just, and bragging about things that they have no evidence to support. Like,
I think
no,
there's a slight difference between positive thinking and delusional thinking.
yeah, or, that's what that is. But the expression of positivity and cocksureness of, I'm good at this, and the whole world is saying you're not that good at this, and the results that come from your efforts don't measure up to your own beliefs about how good you are. And there's a lot of that in comedy, without a doubt. But I think you know who I'm talking about. But this idea that, if we just, the power of positivity. What was that? The Beaver Man is here. What the hell are you doing here on a Monday?
I get every other Monday off. Every other Monday, every other Thursday.
How do you know if this is the other Monday? Is this Monday or is this the other Monday?
Hold on, let me check.
Is it? I don't know. It feels like Monday.
I think it must be the other Monday because you're here.
But it feels like Monday. Yeah. Doesn't it feel like Monday?
Yeah, it is. I am supposed to be off. It was like, right. I panicked there for a second.
I made you panic there.
Thanks a lot.
I gave you tension that you could not transform into joy by meditating. And you couldn't win.
Right. I gave it a shot. I'm not sure how successful I was.
Let's. Do you believe as a medical professional? Do you give any credence to this idea of the chakras and the health correlations between your energy centers, 7 energy centers, and your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? I don't know where they are really.
Well, scientifically, you have nerve clusters, nerve bundles. So I think that's actually how they explained it back in the day.
Right.
So one of the most a good way to I always break it down to martial arts and how to disable somebody. So for example, if you are able to strike someone very effectively below their xiphoid process, which they call the solar plexus, that is a bundle of nerve fibers called the celiac plexus.
Yes.
So good spot to hit somebody, and just like there's multiple plexi or plexes or however whatever the plural is throughout the human body. And I think that's kind of what they actually meant.
Yes. If you actually look at a chart, if you overlap charts, like nerve endings, you look at charts of acupuncture charts, Reiki charts, all these different charts, if you overlap them, you'll see there's a common thread in them, and that's where bundles of nerves gather. And it's, it's depending on your school of thought, it's energy centers or whatever.
Crown chakra, third eye chakra, throat chakra, heart chakra, solar plexus chakra. What's this last one? What's sacred?
Sacral. It's basically gut.
So my root chakra, I was wrong. I think the problem with me is that sacral chakra. That's what my ass and my cock is really the problem.
Well, your root chakra is actually black. This one is depicted as reddish. Yeah, your root chakra, I believe, is enlarged and lumpy and cancerous.
So that is the ass colon down there, that root chakra, because I wasn't sure. It looks more like in the area of the sacral chakra.
Now, my instructor that I had back when I was studying metaphysics would have had a fit with that map, that drawing, because it's like this. They say this is how most people see it. This is not how it is. This is like an oversimplification, and it's my instructor would have had a fit with that map. Matter of fact, none of us had charts that look like that. Our charts look a lot different.
Well, you shouldn't have a fit. That's not Kundalini, baby. That's not like
no. I'm just talking about. Because people get it, people visualize these things, and this is what they think is real. and so it'll be like it's like the representation of a heart is that little thing that looks like this. And some kids don't know any better. That's what they think a heart looks like, when actually a heart actually it's about the size of a fist, and it looks more like I don't know. Yeah, yeah. Looks
I
more
wouldn't
like a
say
fist.
they were all like exactly the size of the fist. I held one in my hands. It took 2 hands to hold it. It was fucking huge.
Well,
that person had that person had congestive heart failure. That's why that heart was so large.
Yeah. I don't know what she died
That's
of.
That's the erection.
Probably congestive heart failure.
Congestive heart failure is like a cardio erection. It's not supposed to be that big all the time.
Right. Well, she was a very large woman that we took it out of. I mean, very large. A lot of people die with shit inside them too. When you cut them open, it's like, oh,
well, where do you think it goes?
Well, I know, but you would hope that you would take a good bowel movement before you die, just to be cool on the people doing the autopsy.
Not everybody does that, though.
No, almost nobody does that. It's like
usually you will see one. Usually it's like a few hours before. We used to see that in the nursing home. If somebody just took a massive, like giant frame, they're like, oh fuck, I bet this person's gonna die, and they did.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other night because driving home, you know what. And I know the powers that be are listening to every word I say because they're talking. I see ads for these fucking night goggles now because with these people with these bright lights, I'm like, I'm going to die in an accident. I know when I die in an accident, I'm going to get and I'm going to shit myself. And the poor paramedics who are going to, or cops or whoever going to have to come.
They don't do anything with it.
They're going to be like, it's hanky time. This guy shit himself when he got hit.
Yeah, but they're not going to clean it. They don't give a fuck.
No, but they have to smell it while they open the car door and like, whoa, what the hell?
Fuck, the cops deserve it. Who gives a shit?
Oh, no, I don't care. That's right.
Now, for those of you who do not know this, if you are in an accident and you do survive, you can get an extra $1,000 if you piss your pants and an extra $2,000 if you shit your pants from the insurance companies.
Really?
Is that
yes.
you're pulling my ass?
I learned that.
You're pulling my ass.
I learned that.
He learned that after shitting himself.
No, I learned it because I didn't. I had a bottle of water in my hand at the time of the accident, and it got all over me. And when the cop came, he goes, "Did you piss your pants?" I said, "No, that's water." He goes, "That's a shame." He goes, and he tells me this, and then it's like it's not anywhere in the insurance book. Nowhere in your if you check your insurance policy right now, they'll talk about comprehensive and liability. There's no shit and piss policy, but if it does happen, they will give you extra money.
No shit and piss policy.
I call bullshit.
Now I went to
let's Google this.
Back me up, Ron. Call bullshit.
I'll tell you what.
Bullshit.
I tell you what. The two of you, we can do this. We can do this as an experiment. I don't mind being called on what you think is bullshit. The two of you go out today, and both of you have a car accident. Okay, one of you piss yourself, the other one do not. Okay, and watch. You get that extra $1,000 for pissing yourself or shit yourself. But if you're going to do it, if you're going to sew your pants, go for the $2,000. Go for the two.
I googled it, and I get this: the phrase "shit and piss" clause is not a formal legal or insurance term.
I said it's not.
But rather a colloquial way of referring to specific exclusions or limitations within an insurance policy, most commonly the pollution exclusion clause or animal waste exclusion, which determine coverage for damage caused by human or animal waste. These clauses are frequently subject to litigation because their application can be ambiguous depending on the exact circumstances of the loss. I don't know if that's loss. That's given away. It's not a law. I wouldn't.
What happens if you shit all over your windshield from the inside?
That's what I mean. So or
maybe it's loss of dignity.
What if you cause an accident because you are a Jackie Martling and you shit out a car window and it splats on somebody's windshield behind you and they wreck?
Did he tell you that story, or you read the book?
It is a matter of.
I read the book and he told the story.
A matter of not just interpretation, but how the circumstances surrounding it. So it makes a difference.
Have you
I
ever
think,
had an emergency though while you're driving?
but yes, but see, if you pull over and you shit on the side of, you don't fucking stick your ass out the window and let shit go flying at 60 miles an hour.
What
you?
happens if you just shit your pants just driving?
Well, then you pull over and you clean your pants up.
That's when you take your back and you arch it and lean yourself so you're not sitting in it.
See,
and hope it doesn't leak onto your car seats.
Sunshine flying monkey.
I have been yelled at by people because I was using my phone for GPS and had it in my hand. A guy pull over, put that phone away. Now, nobody, you stick your ass out the window and you're shitting, flying shit. Nobody's going to come by and get, hey, put that thing away. Yes.
Well, in Jackie's defense, he did it on accident.
You don't stick your ass out the window by accident.
No. That was
my ass
that was
accidentally got stuck out the window.
That part was intentional. Shitting was an accident.
And I don't buy it because there has to be shit all over that car.
No, you don't have to buy it. It's free.
Well, it depends on how fast you're going. Because remember, the car, the shit is going out, let's say, at 1 mile an hour. But if the car is going 30, then now the shit is traveling 31 miles an hour. So it may be hard.
How do you know that 1 mile an hour? Did you ever measure the speed of shit? 1 mile an hour, you say? How do you know?
Estimating.
And that's
it has to have some forward motion. Otherwise, it wouldn't be going anywhere.
But it also has to be a nice solid shit.
Right.
According to Jay, I don't think it was. I think
more than likely it was all over him in the car as well.
I'm gonna say
the story gets worse, Ron. The story gets worse. He wipes his ass and then wipes it on the window.
Right. Yeah.
It's his friend didn't
I don't think he had to wipe it on the window. I'm sure it was all over the window.
No, the windshield. His friend didn't believe him that he shit out the window, and so he wiped his ass and then wiped it on the windshield to prove it to him.
All right.
The story gets better.
Yeah, it continues to get better.
And then Rodney Dangerfield says to him, "Welcome to the big time."
Welcome to the big time, kid.
For some reason, I think that story ends in a motel and someone's getting fucked in the ass.
His mother was driving at the time.
No, that's a different story.
Oh,
that's Sunshine. This is how we keep our number 3 rating in science and physics.
The other story is Jackie and his college friend were in New York and they were headed back to Michigan, and his mom decided she wanted to go with them. So she hopped in the car in the back seat, and they had a piss jar.
Oh, yeah.
And they emptied it out the window, and it flew back onto his mother.
Don't piss on my mother and tell me it's raining.
My mother would have killed me.
Yeah.
Even now.
All right, changing the subject from piss and shit. The piss and shit clause, by the way. Ask your insurance agent about it now.
Ask them by name.
Call Prudential and say, "Hey, I'm looking
ask
for
it by name."
Ask for it by name.
That
should be a T-shirt.
It's time for sports. How about that? It's time for sports.
I hear that. Now, I didn't pay attention to it. I was reading when I was looking through the headlines. Was it the Eagles won their division? And it says something about a decision about Andy Rooney, the chief of the coach for the Chiefs. Was it Andy Rooney?
Andy Rooney was the guy from 60 Minutes with the eyebrows.
Andy Reid.
I'm Andy Rooney, and that's my.
The sports I was particularly interested in this morning and this weekend, actually, from Sunday morning, was the Jake Paul getting knocked out.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Now people are saying I'm wrong for being happy about that. I'm not. I don't really hate Jake Paul. I don't really know anything about him, but I feel like somebody who just is arrogant enough to think just because I have money and can hire a trainer and go to the gym and work out and I can fight Mike Tyson, who's 90 years old. Now I'm ready to fight a heavyweight champion. To me, the world needs to know that, no, you can't. And I think it's a good message for him to get just embarrassed by that. And people, well, you got to respect that he did that. Well, yes, I respect that he had the courage to do that. But the point is, and I could have got knocked out just as easily as he did.
Yes, and that's why I don't have to respect it. Okay, no, I don't have to respect it. Okay, I used to box. And there's some fights that I was like, no, I know I can't win this fight. Why am I doing this? I will be hurt.
Yeah.
And in some fights I didn't know that I was going to get hurt. I thought I had a chance, and I got hurt.
Yeah.
Those are the ones you can kind of respect, but no.
You don't have to feel bad for him either, because he's just
Yeah.
taking a bunch of easy fights. So he got what he deserved.
Right, and he got paid for that. Listen, there are times where I got the shit kicked out of me. Just a couple of weeks ago, I got the shit kicked out of me, and I did not get paid for it. Millions of dollars, by the way. So
You should have pissed and shit yourself.
Yeah. So
or more money.
He fought a fighter who wasn't going to back down.
Yeah.
I like the glee he had on his face after he knocked Jake Paul out. That look on his face was like
glee, because he went and stopped in the middle of the ring and did it.
I didn't see that.
Oh yeah. He took it easy on Paul the first couple rounds, I think.
Right. And he kind of gave him a look like, yeah, I just fucking, I took my time to fucking knock you out. I could have knocked you out in the first. He gave him a look like that. Like, I could have knocked you out. I wanted you to fucking suffer for 6 rounds before I knocked you out.
I mean, just look at the reach on that guy. His reach is fantastic.
What's his name? Because this is how disconnected.
There
was a time where I knew every boxer in every division. I don't even know the guy's name.
It was fun, though. When you knew
Joshua Anthony, I believe is his name.
Joshua, yeah, that sounds about right. Anyway, so yeah, there's this whole you're trying to guilt me for being happy about Jake Paul, and again, it's not really personal about him. It's about anybody who thinks, "Oh, yeah, I'm as good as like I don't know if you saw this, but Dave Chappelle got in some heat about now the people who loved him for being anti-trans are now hating him for being anti-Israel. But I'm thinking as good as Dave Chappelle or as good as Louis C.K. and I've been in it a fucking week, or I've done some open mics, and now fuck you, you're not ready for that, and so
he also said at the end of that special that he supports Israel. He stands with Israel.
I didn't see that because all I'm seeing is shorts where people are just like, oh, the same people who were supporting him for being anti-trans now are bashing him for being anti-Israel, calling him Zionist and all. He did say a bunch of things like Saudi Arabia murdered one journalist, and that's terrible. But Israel has murdered 250 journalists in the last 6 months or something.
Yeah, it's been that special was all over. I mean, he touched on everybody and he said good things about them and bad things about them.
You watched the whole special? Where is it? Netflix? Is that where it is?
Yep, that's on Netflix.
Oh, I have to check it out to watch it.
Did they change Netflix somehow in the last? Because there was something I went to watch on there, and they said I had to upgrade my subscription. It's like I have a paid subscription. That Netflix have like premium content now that you have to pay.
There are tiers. There are tiers because of like the whole family shit. And
it wasn't always that way, though, right? I mean, I don't watch often enough to know when these changes took effect, but I was shocked that I think I wanted to watch Stand By Me, and it said you got to upgrade your subscription to $29.95.
It's still on Netflix.
But I got it on Netflix, but they said, and I paid a $15 a month or whatever I paid to Netflix, but they still said I had to upgrade my subscription to a $30 package. I'm like,
did you log out and log back in?
Or turn your phone on and off?
I don't know.
Because we had to turn off. It's really weird. We could not get into some of our accounts, and we had to turn our phone off and turn them back on. Because our default was to reset our passwords, and sometimes that wasn't even working. So,
did you watch America Fest?
No, I didn't. I did watch. Was it One Battle After Another?
Now, America Fest was Turning Point's.
Turning Point USA.
And Nicki Minaj came out and she spoke and she called Vance an assassin to Erica Kirk's face.
An assassin?
Yeah, because they were talking about Vance.
I know.
The whole thing is weird because Erica Kirk is like, all this stuff about JD Vance, and Nicki Minaj is like trying to sex it all up. It's like, and our vice president Vance, an assassin. It's awkward and very bad.
Assassin. I don't get that
Just
part.
been asked.
But Nicki Minaj was taking some shit on Twitter, especially for just even going there. But if you're going to go there and cause some shit with them, I don't see why people would get, if you're going to just throw a monkey wrench into their turning point rally, whatever you want to call it, why are people giving her some shit for that? I mean, if she's going to go there and get in their face, I applaud her for that. I don't get it. But assassin, that doesn't make it. I don't get who did he assassinate? Him assassinate? No,
well, it's awkward because since Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and she's calling Vance an assassin.
Right, right. Now you know what they did? They set up a booth of that Charlie was killed in, and they had people taking pictures in it, like, this is the seat he was killed in. Like, this is the tourist attraction now. I'm gonna have some fun and get me, and them charging, I don't know what they were charging for, but they're charging money for people to take these tourist shots in the seat he was killed in.
I thought the whole thing was very off-putting. There's no way that I should have to spend $20 on a poncho just to sit in the front row at that event. Go fuck yourself.
You're the kind of guy who would definitely like to take a picture in the sheet that Charlie was killed in, though, right?
Oh my God! Yeah, why wouldn't you?
I know it. Yeah, that's been going on forever. That's how humans are. I mean, if they'd have had cameras back in the day, there would have been a bunch of pictures with freaking Caesar holding his head up and shit.
Put me on the cross.
Hey, if you want to go back that, sure.
That's how humans are. Just Photoshop it. I don't have to go that far. Whatever.
And honestly, without a Charlie Kirk hologram, how can you even call that an event? Also,
yeah. This Erica Kirk stuff, she's just like, I don't know. Phoniness is oozing out of her, like
like jizz.
Yeah,
like Vance's jizz.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't even think they've buried Vance yet. I mean, they're trotting his corpse out there like he's doing this, he's doing this. It's the marketing behind, this guy's death has been pretty good.
Yeah.
Good for him.
It is causing a civil war within the right wing MAGA, whatever you want to call that word. Alex Jones, Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes, Ben Shapiro, a bunch of these people are just like Megyn Kelly. All these people are involved in this, and they're trying. You got to take sides. Like, what? Where's the fucking good side in any of that nonsense? But Candace Owens coming out and saying, "Fuck you, Ben Shapiro, and the midget horse you wrote in on." It's like, okay, that to me is just a work of art, beauty. I love it.
I have a segue question. Yeah. Not a great segue.
You can download a manual for those online. You don't have to ask us because none of us know anything about segues. I'm sure. I mean, I talked to a Segway salesman once when I was staying in a hotel, but that's about it. I only know the.
Was he head injured? Did he look head injured to you? Yeah. Question for you, comedians-ish people. You folks who do comedy. Are you having do you guys see a lot of battles, turf wars, arguments between all these minor comedians in their cliques?
I don't pay attention to them.
We have so many. Indiana seems to have so many battles going on between their different groups that do comedy, and now it's migrated to Michigan, and so now there's all these fights going on between them, and I'm like, none of you are funny. None of you are even remotely funny or have a 10-minute set.
Is this a spillover from roast battles or something? Or
no, it's arguments between people who book and do comedy. It's arguments with bookers. It's the comedians that are on their place. You see I don't know how it is how it used to be. I imagine probably most bookers were not also comedians. They just made money off of booking, or producers or people who put on shows didn't do comedy. But now it's pretty obvious that most of us book the show, produce the show, and are on the show, or have some shows that we're on, because you don't want to have to pay to do all those things. You just want to be able to produce it yourself and do every aspect of it. And all they are is just fighting constantly. And it's a big thing. Indiana is just constantly fighting amongst their different groups. And it's,
I gotta say,
are they fighting over pilfering? You know, like let's say, I'm just saying, let's say I'm just gonna just say this. Let's say Ron has like 8 comedians that he likes to use in his group, and then there's another comedian who likes to use, let's say, 6 or 7 in his group, and then he goes and tries to pilfer 1 or 2 of Ron's to be in his show. Is it that kind of stuff?
No, it's more like these people are operating in this area. And they have, maybe they'll co-produce with another group, and then one of them fucks the other one over, talks shit behind their back. Or you'll see where the comedians are like, I'm doing all these shows and I don't get booked for these types of shows because they're booking the same 7 people. I'm like, yeah, but the shows that you're doing are not that funny, and you're not that funny. And that's why you're not getting, maybe look at yourself and wonder, don't think it's because you're getting ignored because you're so goddamn funny. It's because you're not that funny. And you're getting booked on all these other shows that notoriously book lots of shows, but they're not very good quality shows. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. This idea that you're not very funny seems to be a difficult pill to swallow for a lot of comedians who just like DD talked about it before. I think DD was the one, or maybe Ron said it, but about blaming the room or blame. It's always somebody else's fault. Yeah.
Rooms do suck, but also you don't blame the room when you're
as a comedian. You have to work through it, and even if it's a bad show. And if you're going to be a professional comic, you got to work through it.
Yep. You just do it. It doesn't matter. Are there audiences that notoriously suck? Absolutely. But you don't say, here's my favorite one. We're like, well, that killed in Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And insulting the audience is not going to help. And the guy who replaced me in the Rockin' 45s a couple of times, guy Argon, he is. I go back with him long before anybody knew. He had a band, Argon and the Flying Saucers, and I booked him one time in this club, and he was just abusive to the audience for not understanding his genius. And his genius was not genius; it was suckiness. But
it happens. It happens to pro comics as well. Because, you know, my Josh, who's been out in LA now for a few months, has told me a couple of stories that he's been in some of these big clubs, and these are ticketed shows, professional comics, and you'll watch them melt down on stage. These are paying customers, and they're like, "You suck as an audience." It's like, wow, it's fucking wild. It's like, what the fuck?
Do they think that's going to actually help? Because there's no way in your mind you can think, I know how to win them over. I'll call them all shit.
We had one come from Chicago. I didn't book him. Somebody else booked him. And his entire set, I think, was basically about just Chicago oriented. And people weren't laughing. And I'll admit, I think the audience was shit too. But he started just insulting them, saying, oh, you hillbillies from this town, you wouldn't know funny. There's nothing going on in this town, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay. Also, this town is one of the biggest industrial towns in the world. Right. But you're calling us all hillbillies? I'm like, I don't think that went over well. And it didn't go over. He didn't do well at all. I mean, because he just didn't do well from the get-go.
Well, like where I am, I can pull comics from New York City. And there's these couple comics I've been trying to get, and the one guy he just told me, he's like, well, I can make more money in the city right now. It's like, well, yeah, you're going to, but that's no guarantee that you can still, that for one, you can't draw tickets. We both know that. And number two, just because you're doing comedy in New York City does not mean it will translate to South Central Pennsylvania.
Right.
Because I even pull comics. I've pulled comics from Philly before, and they come out to this area and they can't do it because they're so like wrapped up in like such Philly centric comedy.
Yeah,
and most of the people,
I love that word.
Yeah, and New York comics do it, and they try and bring that. It's like, who cares? This isn't interesting to anybody.
So,
well, but it's also look. Oh, sorry, GD. My apologies.
No, I'll go. You go. You go.
No, you
Well,
go ahead.
No, I think it's very obvious that most comedians that I see, or quote comedians, have never actually studied comedy. Somebody told them they were funny and they just decided they were going to do it, but they've never read a book. They've never actually studied comedy or structure. And so one of the things that my takeaway from studying comedy is you want to pick something that everybody can relate to, whether they've done it or not. You pick something to talk about that people can relate to. Yeah, my stuff is all dark. People have experienced dark shit, but I don't sit there and bring up some initial way of bringing them in that no one has experienced.
Right. Or if you're going to go someplace where people have not been, you have to know how to create that world so that they understand it. You have to invite them into it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's what I tell young comedians. It's not that there are like original premises and stuff like that. Or if you're telling your own story, people don't know it. You have to invite them into your world, and you have to make it so they want to be there and they're interested, and then they can enjoy it. They can relax. They can come into your world. They can relax. They can have some fun. You know.
Yeah. But if your audience is primarily 60-year-old white men and women, and your entire set is about P. Diddy,
right,
and nobody's laughing, it's because they don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Right. The only way you could do that is if you make P. Diddy make the qualities about that you're gonna talk about almost universal. You know,
Yeah.
so like, you know, if you're talking about P. Diddy and you're talking about the abuse, you have to talk about it in a universal way so that other people who can get it. You know, it's you know, I have
Sunshine says here, helping someone understand a different perception and culture only helps open their eyes. Maybe. I find that's the biggest obstacle to people getting along, and a lot of people are just refusing to understand other people's cultures and all this kind of stuff. And it's just like I don't want to. And this is an empathy crisis. I don't want to experience the world from their perspective. I want to force them to experience the world through my perspective. And so,
well, I'm not necessarily saying force. When I'm saying comedy is like it's a show, you know. And if you're going to tell jokes, it doesn't matter if they're off color, on color. I don't give a shit if you think you're a New York comic or a Philly comic or an LA comic. You have to make it so that people before you appreciate that world and can understand it. You know, That's it. I'm not saying they have to love me. I'm just saying that if you expect them to laugh, you have to create an environment where it's okay for them to laugh, and it starts with them being invited into the world. You know.
All right, let's bring up some hate on me now. Well, no, maybe. Who cares? Because Marjorie Taylor Greene, again, this is not, well, it is political because it's Marjorie Taylor Greene, but she said, she came back on this idea that there were only two sexes, because she's trans hating again. You know, Marjorie went from like, oh, we need love, to now hating on the trans people again. And she says there's only two sexes, and God doesn't make mistakes. And I think the second part of that, whether you're religious or not, that's a beautiful statement. God doesn't make mistakes. But I don't believe there are only two sexes, because there's hermaphroditism, whatever you want to call that. And I did a kind of a deep dive on like what is the occurrence of that. But so now, if you accept that there are hermaphrodites, and so there's man and woman, two genders there, and then there's this kind of not either one, then you're saying, well, either your God did make a mistake, or God didn't make a mistake and intended for that. If that's her belief, there is a God, right?
Well, aside from her being a politician and as Christian nationalist, if you're saying, and this is pretty much supporting what you're saying, Matt, and I apologize for those of you who weren't expecting me to agree with Matt in any way, shape, or form.
You don't ever do that again.
If you know, basically, whatever God does, you can say, well, I meant to do that, therefore it's not a mistake. You know,
right?
God meant to do that. That's the
So
only way they can say God doesn't make mistakes with a straight face.
right. So now, because I'm trying to understand, and listen, no surprise that most of us don't ever go do a deep dive into human hermaphrodites and understand what it is. But if you understand that, okay, you said there were two, there's obviously some third in the middle there, something, then isn't it possible that there are other degrees of that? So somebody might not be born with sex organs, but in their mind, in their being, they are somewhere in between male and female and have trouble with that. There's obviously, that leaves open not just the possibility, but the probability that other degrees of gender exist, right? So I think nobody ever comes back with that argument to her. And why is that so hill to die on for so many people? They just can't understand. Listen, I don't understand trans people, but it's not for me to understand them. But if they're happy, they're better off than I am. And, all this whole happiness stuff, it plays into this. But who am I to tell them that, oh, you're just trying to, you're a weirdo, you're a pervert for thinking you were born in the wrong body or something. Isn't that another mistake that God made? Because God created them with this idea of who they should be.
If you look at Marjorie Taylor Greene, obviously she was born in a wrong
Leave
body.
her out of it, though. I mean, it's because it's not just about her. There are people who are the right wing right now seems to really, they want every mass shooter to be trans. Trump uses the phrase "trans for everybody." Like, no. Nobody is saying everybody should be, and nobody I've ever heard said, "Oh, we all need to be trans." There's not trans for everybody. They're just angry at transgenderism, like it affects their life in some way, and it really doesn't. And Tucker Carlson saying porn does it to people. Well, how do you account for children who feel that way long before they've ever been exposed to porn, right? And most of these people would say it starts in very early childhood. They've never been exposed to porn. Whatever it is, it has nothing to do with your life. And if you believe that everybody has the right to pursuit of happiness, then do they have a right to exist? If they have a right to exist, then don't they have the same civil rights that all the rest of us have? And it just, I can't wrap my head around the hate for them. I understand the confusion about it, because for me, it's hard for me to relate to them, but it's not my place to relate to them. Be happy who you are. If it makes you happy, it makes you happy. Why am I going to get on Hate Hill and to say, well, you don't have a right to exist like that? It's just so, but nobody ever comes back with that argument to people who, well, there are only two genders. That's obviously false. There's more than two genders.
Well, the whole thing is like, why do you even care? I mean,
exactly.
It's less than 1% of the population, and the whole thing to me really just shows how much these guys want to put cocks in their mouth.
Yeah, I agree.
And so, like, dudes, if you want to blow other guys, for all the closeted dudes that just want to blow dudes because they're all worked up about trans dudes. In today's society, in 2025, you can go to your local sex shop, as you should, to support your small businesses, and you can buy a set of fake tits that hangs right on your body. Mm-hmm. So, have your buddy, have your friend Billy put that on, and you can blow him. And you'll feel better.
No.
Well,
no.
Ron, I just want to push back on one thing.
Fake tits.
Some guys don't have to buy them. You can just find a guy with man boobs.
You just smoke enough weed and you'll grow them, right?
Yeah, save some money. Buy, just meet a guy with man boobs. Okay.
Yeah, and
comedy clubs are full of them.
I don't want to out Stanley, but Stanley was a friend of mine's father who was a cop his whole life. And one time we were in the pool and he had a t-shirt on, and I understand why he wore a t-shirt into the pool, because when it was wet, it exposed that he had 36 double D, like real titties. And this wasn't a guy who even smoked weed, so he didn't create the gynecomastia through cannabis or whatever. It just happened. But so you don't need to buy fake boobs.
Well, yes, you do, because you know, you don't want it to be gay, and tits
Yeah.
normally aren't hairy. So why you don't want to be gay, Matt? They need the fake tits.
Wait, you're telling me? This is not. I thought you said everybody was gay.
He didn't say
No,
he said you
everyone's
don't want to
bisexual.
be.
Oh,
And especially in this country, we're a very bisexual country. Even though the military is pushing hard for a hard gay right now, it's a very bisexual country.
Now you say this country, you don't think this is a worldwide epidemic? Like Kev over there in New Zealand, you're seeing a lot of, I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's tough for a lot of people to wrap their head even around, you know, this country being bisexual.
It's not
So
wrapping your head around; it's wrapping your lips around. First of all,
Well,
Yeah.
in the lower part of the country, in the lower part of the world where things are upside down, there are two types of people. They're wallabies and wannabes. Okay, and so wannabes.
I would also like to say that our local sex shop does not have the fake titties.
local sex shop, you say?
Yeah,
There is no, maybe because of where I live, but
It doesn't.
there's no local here. I mean, I don't know
Why
how far
not?
you'd have. Why not? We have one strip mall here, and there's nothing in there. Where I live, again, it's probably because it's so rural here, but we have like one pizza shop, one like convenience store, restaurant. That's
Well, you
about
got to
it.
come to Pennsylvania because whenever it's you know, in those areas, there's sex shops everywhere.
Missouri. When I drove through Missouri, I mean, they were everywhere. Even
Florida?
right from the interstate, you could see them. They're like everywhere. I can't like, wow, Missouri is really, and it's the idea of like they can't if they're all in competition. There's that many of them. How are they all making money? How are they all surviving? I mean, so there's got to be a lot of show me going
Well,
on.
the real trick, the reason why there's so many is because most of the people are not going to shop in their own neighborhoods. They're going to shop.
Who cares?
They're going to shop in an adjacent neighborhood so that the people in their neighborhood don't see them. And then they have to have a choice because if everybody in their neighborhood is shopping at another store and they don't want to be found out by their neighbors, you had to have a bunch of stores so each section can go to a different store so that they don't run into each other. You got to have that many.
I mean, we have John is here, and he was in the military, and like all this stuff with trans. Why do we even still have SEAL teams? Because apparently, all these trans people are like super soldiers, and they're always killing people. Why don't we just get rid of all SEAL teams and replace them with trans people? That seems to be the narrative that these
Hegseth is definitely a hardcore homophobe, and he's got
a homo. Hegseth is gay as the day is long. It's obvious.
Yeah, most homophobes have this latent homosexuality in them that they're in denial of. But I think most people who are, I shouldn't say homophobes, homo haters, because you could be a homophobe. And I think I'm a homophobe. I've talked about
he's probably getting pegged because that's not quite as gay.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. That dude is straight up just an embarrassment to the military. He's gay as fuck as the day is long. It's all about, first of all, it's all about personal evolution, in my opinion. Here's an example. I entered the Army 18 years old, 3 days after I graduated high school. Okay. Trained very hard to be a killing machine. That was my job. That is literally your job description is to close with and destroy the enemy. That is your job.
Yeah.
Okay. We all were made fun of gay people and called each other gay, but yet we didn't know if anybody actually was gay. But statistically, there had to be people that were gay in our company.
Yeah.
Had to be. Okay. But you didn't know it. This was don't ask, don't tell era. Okay. So we had no idea if anybody was actually gay, but statistically, we had to know gay people. I get out of the military.
Also had guns and they were trained just like you.
Exactly. I get out of the military, and my first 2 jobs that I had in food service industry, both of my bosses were gay. So that freaked me out. And then as time went on in college, I'm like, why does that even freak me out? And you evolve as a person, realize that mindset is stupid. because they're just like you. We're all the same. We're all huge pieces of shit.
Yeah.
So
No,
you have to evolve as a human being. If
Have
you're
you
not
ever-
evolving as a human being, there's something wrong with you.
Have you watched any of those like early '90s comedies recently? Gone back and never watched them? It is so funny because the big punchline to a lot of jokes is like, "This guy's gay,"
Gay.
or they don't know what to do because someone's gay. It's
Yeah.
only the '90s.
Yeah.
It makes you laugh.
no doubt
There were
about it.
shows back, black and white movies back. I'm trying to like the 30s and 40s when they had openly gay characters in the show.
Yeah,
in the
they were
movie.
called, what were they called? A bit violet or something like that. This person's a bit violet or lavender. That's what it is. This person's a bit lavender. That's what they would say.
Yeah.
And I don't think as a nation, I don't think we should even be allowed to talk about gay or even trans anymore. Dating back all the way to Liberace, because there were people who claimed they thought he was straight. And like, if you thought that guy was straight at any time, you should not be allowed to comment on anything that is gay.
You have no power of perception at all.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, shut the fuck up.
Shut up. Oh.
Well,
But do they get a pass on Rock Hudson?
Right. Well, I've known a lot of very
Oscar Wilde.
I've known a lot of very effeminate men who were like, they make Liberace look like you know, Joe Turette, but they were very they were womanizers. You would swear that they were effeminate, but they would also be had more women and scoring big time. Known lots of them. So I don't think appearance and the way you carry yourself, you could carry yourself very woman-like and still be a ladies' man and still, you know.
You could, yeah, but no one would. Come on. I'm sure there are stories about women.
No, I know that Liberace was gay. Yeah. I'm just saying that you can't know. That's not like a reliable determiner of somebody's gayness. You can actually be very effeminate looking and carry yourself like that and have a very limp wrist and still be scoring women like nobody.
Yeah, but I imagine there's also stories out there of these women that's like, oh, I went to see Liberace and I went backstage, but he didn't pick any of the women. It was just all these guys he kept asking.
He wanted to talk about sports.
Yeah,
he was.
But I've also known lots of macho dudes, and then you
that is also a tip off as well. Like if you're like so macho and you're always trying to portray yourself as like big and tough, it's like, what are you hiding, buddy?
Well, you're not really hiding it because look at all the other thing is look at all the big jack dudes that are gay, you know what I mean, that are openly gay, and you're like, respect, because like dude is he's working out hard to look good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Getting off the
I always wanted, and this is a bad thing for me to say, but it's true. I'm like, every man, every straight man should have at least one gay male friend.
Oh yeah, yeah,
100%, because we all dress like shit. You want to.
You need a queer eye for the straight guy.
Well, you need one that's jacked and that dresses well, so that he can always be like, all right, dude, you dress like shit. You need to work out. You need someone in your corner like that who's always like, all right, you need to be better. You look terrible.
And not only that, they should be better looking than you, so that when you're hanging out together, women flock to him. They get all wet and horny, and he goes like, "I'm really not interested. Here, talk to my friend GD." It's like, okay.
See, when I was in the hair and beauty industry, I had a lot of gay friends, and part of my homophobia comes from the fact that they never stopped hitting on me. Like, yeah, we're just friends, dude. So, like, if I had a girl who I was friends with, I wouldn't be constantly hitting on her. So if I have friends,
no, but you wouldn't be backing off either. You'd be
but I wouldn't be
testing the waters every 5 or 6 inches.
I wouldn't.
Bad person if you do that.
I've had many women friends, and I've never hit on them at all. And if there was ever a suggestion, we kind of just leave any kind of suggestion about that let's not go there, because we know there's nothing happening. You're happy where you are. I'm happy where I'm. Whatever. But gay guys, when they are your friends, at least in my, especially in the hair and beauty industry, they never stop, like, suggesting that they like to blow you or something, and it gets uncomfortable. It gets uncomfortable. Like, stop. I feel like a chick who is just surrounded by horny dudes. Like, leave me alone, dude. Like, it was funny the first time. Now the 7,000th time, it's not so funny anymore. Shut the fuck up. Can we just leave sex out of it? How about that?
Now, if it was happening today, let's say that you're same age now, but it's 2025. You're in the same industry. Do you think that would be happening today in the same industry?
Well, it's not. Yes, in the hair and beauty industry.
Even after you said not cool, we don't want to.
Yeah. Because it's always, I can name some names, but guys who just did not stop even after.
But that's straight up sexual harassment then.
Yeah.
Or some people, they're just horny. Okay, and it wouldn't have mattered if it was you, Matt, or anybody. It wouldn't have mattered if it was you. I'm just saying, some people, it wouldn't have mattered if it was you.
I think that's fair. But
it still doesn't make it. Yeah, but that's not right. It's still not right. It's still.
Well, I'm just saying it's not personal. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it's not personal.
Let's say some hot chick would never happen. But let's say some hot chick is constantly hitting on me in the workforce, in my work environment, and I tell her that's not appropriate. It doesn't make it okay because she's hot.
Yeah.
It makes it better.
It definitely makes it easier to tolerate, and absolutely the flattery of at least to me, that would do a lot for my self-esteem.
But you can't use that excuse if something inappropriate happens later on that you didn't.
Can't use that at your civil trial,
right? Because you originally were like, oh well, I was flattered. Okay, well when she freaking ass rapes you. And then you're like, oh, well, before you were flattered, and now you didn't like it when I ass raped you.
Well, that's just no means no. That's all that is.
Yeah. Plus,
I also think though, like with the men for anal getting anal, I think they're so upset with gay guys because they're jealous. Part of them are jealous because they feel like these gay guys are just playing video games and blowing each other all the time. And they don't have that with their wives. It's only like,
but
all right, I guess it's my birthday.
They have their own video games, Ron. If they buy the PS5 or whatever it is that they're using, and instead of a Nintendo, you got to get the good game with the good joystick.
I'm a person who's never understood the anal attraction anyway. And I was listening to Annie Letterman last night. She said, "You ever look at your asshole in the mirror?"
Yes.
That's bad. Don't do that. That's bad. I found out mine is racist. It's wearing blackface. But
I have a joke about that. I just haven't had the courage to do it yet. About how I'm 5% Congolese and it's my asshole.
Oh no, I don't want to ever see that. I don't ever. But so I don't get the whole attraction.
You don't know that person might bleach their asshole, and you might see it and go, you know what? That's the best asshole I've ever seen.
Or they could have like hemorrhoids and they got this pink puffy thing just hanging out there.
But blood is the lube.
I have a friend who's a gay comedian who I've told him millions of times, like, you're making me very uncomfortable. I stopped commenting for a while now, but anytime I post anything on Facebook for a while, he was like just trying to make it about my dick. It's like, I know you want to suck my dick. I've told you many times you're never going to do that, and it just makes me uncomfortable. I don't want to say you can't be my friend anymore, but if you're going to keep this up, I'm going to block you and never talk to you again. And he still kept coming out. It's like, dude.
I did that to a friend of mine who was a gay friend of mine. I warned him like for a long time, like, we'll hang out, we'll chat, we'll have fun, and then inevitably he always said something like that. And finally I was like, all right, we can't be friends anymore. Because
let's get away from the gay conversation. I'm not saying we have to, but something that was
conversation's gay.
Completely awkward. I think I heard somebody say the word tipping before, and it really triggered me. It triggered my memory on Saturday night when I had this really awkward experience of ruining a guy's phone, ruining an oak floor, paint. I said to the guy I was leaving, I had the bag, a box of materials in my hand. I said, if you could somehow manage to forget to mention this in your review of tonight, like the fact that the white paint and the purple water paint on the floor, if you could manage to do that, I would really appreciate. Just forget about it. And he said, "Oh no, no worries." And he went to tip me, and I'm holding this big glass, and he puts a bill in my hand while I'm holding this box. And I, thank you so much. I wasn't expecting a tip. I was expecting, oh, fuck that guy. You owe me a phone. And I get out close the door behind me, and I'm on the steps, and I'm like, I want to see what he tipped me. And I look at the bill, and I look at it, and I smiled, and then I look up, and there's a camera there. And I was like, oh boy. That's a kind of an awkward thing. Like, hey, what did you tip me? Oh, and I said, well, thank you, up at the camera. Just a very awkward moment. But, I should have waited till I got down to the car to check out what the bill was. But I just felt like, oh, what a it doesn't look, oh, look at him. He's all excited about the tip. I don't know. It just felt embarrassing. I embarrassed myself with that. So,
what a horror.
Yeah. I know. That's exactly what I felt like. That's exactly what I felt like. Thank you for summing it up in very
big time. That's a big time horror.
Yeah. Friday, I had this gig in Astoria. Yeah. And Astoria is like the French Connection, where the car chase scene, where they're on the railroads and all this stuff. And it's just like insane traffic. And it's in the middle of a sports bar in the middle of the afternoon on a Friday, and it's open to the public. So I'm doing a party for 7 people right in the middle of this very busy sports bar restaurant, and people walking all around and like, it was just, I'm not used to that. And now I got to give instruction over people talking, like all these conversations, and I'm like, distracting people from their conversations. It was just like one of the most awkward things. Why would somebody do a paint party in a business that's open to the public, thriving like that? Now the bar owner is not happy that I'm there. I mean, he's happy that these 7 people, he's got this little catered event there. He's making money on that, but he's not happy with the guy with acrylic paint coming in and I didn't make a mess in his bar, but it was just like disturbing the peace sort of thing. Just a weird experience. And I didn't get tipped at that one at all. You would a construction company team building thing. Whatever. It was just awkward. And so my entire weekend of paint parties just made me feel like this is not cool. It's the end for this year. I'm done with paint parties for 2025. But no, I didn't go out on a high note. Now, until I do a good one next year in January, I'm gonna be stuck with this really bad. I don't know. Do you get that in performing? Like, my last show sucked. Now I can't wait to do the next one, a redeeming show.
Yeah. Our last show was horrible. Terrible.
Sunshine, I think this is answering your question. Matt at one time was the Go Time opening act for this grocery store, or whatever they had a grand opening. Matt was like their guy until they kicked him out.
Stop and Shop.
Is that you? Are you hearing that whining, that high whining?
Yeah, I've been hearing it a while. I don't know where it's
coming. It's my battery backup on my computer. I have to turn everything off and reset it.
See, this is part of the hearing range that I don't hear it. That's in the range that music has destroyed in my tinnitus. Dog whistle era or wherever it is, I can't hear it at all.
Well, I played Sense as a cryptid.
I played a show a few months ago, and the show was just a bad show because the audience wasn't that great, and it was for like this weird fundraiser. And then they just kind of stuck some of these comics on this lineup, and it wasn't like, oh, they were shocked or anything like that. It was just more of like, yeah, this just isn't the crowd for this, because they were for like some cheerleading fundraiser or some bullshit.
See, this is kind of the idea. My perception of what it must be like to be a comedian. Because for me, I have a very thin skin, and it really bothers me that people will have a negative opinion of me. And I'm probably, there's 8 billion people on the planet, probably almost all of them who've ever met me have that negative opinion about me. But doing it on stage, I go, I don't know how. With a band, it's different. A bad gig, I can just kind of brush that off. It wasn't me. I could always blame it on the drummer or blame it on somebody else. But when it's just you up there, I don't know how you kind of recover from that, because I don't know. I have a self-esteem problem to begin with, but then when I know it's me, there's nobody else to blame it on. To me, I like that's inescapable. I'm not going to sleep for a week thinking about this stuff.
You have to be able to enjoy and play in the silence.
I love it. I awkwardly pause all the time. If you don't laugh at what I just said, I just pause for really awkward amounts of time.
Yeah.
Well, I know, and John actually witnessed this. My show that was all Postman song parodies. I did not have a great evening of it. And when I was done, I immediately went to analysis mode. Everything I did wrong, what did I do wrong? How can I fix it next time? How can I fix it? I guess that's the first thing I do is I try to. Well, first I get the anger out. It's like, God damn it, mother. And then after I let it out, I go to analysis mode. What did I do wrong? What can I do to fix it? And then by the time the evening is over, sometimes it takes a week. I know what I did wrong. Sometimes I want to redo the show. I want to redo that show so I can show that I can do it the way I want to do it or do it right. But it's not necessary. But I'll get the feel I'm going to redo that show that I fucked up. Not necessarily that I want to have another show that's totally different and do that one well, because to me it mattered that I fucked up that show. And so I want to redo that particular show and get it right.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that, because I think the difference is you said anger, and for me, it's embarrassment and self-pity. I would love to exchange that for anger at myself, and like, how can I make it better? That's not the idea that goes through my mind. It's like, I should give up. I should quit. You suck. You're never going to recover from the shame that you brought upon yourself. All these kind of self-pity. I would love to exchange that for anger if I could somehow get into that mindset.
Well, the anger is easy for me because I don't do a show unless I prepare for it, and I don't
prepared. Damn.
I'm just saying I don't do a show unless I prepare for it.
I hate to see it when you're not prepared. Holy fuck.
Well, that's just it. That's what I'm saying. I had prepared my ass off for that, and so for it to go not as well as it did for me, I was very angry because it was my fault. I knew it. I knew it was my fault. I wasn't embarrassed. I was just angry. It's like, I can do better. I know I can do better. I'm better than this.
See, I think that's why. And I'm not saying you and I are equal in this regard, but for me, preparing never worked out. Like, I would get nothing ever worked out the way I thought it was going to work out, the way I prepared for it. So I stopped preparing just because of that. Like, I don't want to get my expectations up about what this thing is going to be. Just let it happen in the moment. So I stopped preparing. I haven't rehearsed ever, like, if going back to my 20s with bands, like, no, I'm not a rehearsal guy. I'm not a set list guy. I'm not a guy who prepares at all, because I don't want to disappoint myself. And it takes all of that away. Like, there were no expectations. So good gigs. And for the most part, I was thinking about this the other day. I haven't had a lot of bad gigs with the music stuff. Very few of those where like the things where I just want to stuff my head in a fucking oven and just go away and hide from the world. Doesn't happen that much. So, but yeah, preparing.
I have to prepare because the nature of the way my brain works. If I don't prepare, my brain would just go every fucking where in any direction, and I'll have no sense of time no sense of anything. And so I do have to prepare, but also I know my luck. Something always goes wrong. And I try really hard to anticipate everything that can go wrong so that when it goes wrong, I know what I'm going to do when that happens.
That's weird because I have the same attitude, and that's why I don't prepare, because I know when I have prepared, stuff still goes wrong, and I feel bad about that. And then I said, well, you know what? If stuff's going to go wrong already, anyway, why don't I even bother preparing? And
well, okay, I give you an example. Ron had an open mic that he did in York, and there was one night that Ron, I don't know if he couldn't be there, but anyway, I think I reached out to Ron. Yeah, he said people show up, do it, and I said okay, and people started showing up. We had like 14 people, and I said to Ron, I'm just going to do a full thing, just fine. So I did like a 90-minute thing there for these people, but we had a problem with the PA system. But I had practiced performing without a microphone, emoting, just so that I can project my voice to the back of the room. Now it's not a really big room. I mean, it's as far as like where people sit, it's like maybe 30 feet. Ron, am I right? Like maybe 30 feet from the stage to the very back.
Yeah, maybe
40. But I did that whole thing projecting because I'd always knew that one time I'd be in a place and the mic wouldn't work. And I could, say, cancel the show, even though it was just an open mic, or I could just do the show without the mic, knowing that people were going to be able to hear me. And knowing that even the nuances that I'm used to doing with a mic, I could do without the mic, just project and still have the nuance and sounds. So for that's what I mean by preparing, is like shit's going to happen. And what am I going? And I want to be prepared for that.
I don't want to be prepared for that. I really don't. But no, I appreciate your perspective on that, without a doubt. I mean, but after doing so many shows where almost inevitably something was going to go wrong anyway, why even bother preparing? Because something's going to go wrong that you're not going to be prepared for anyway. You might as well just be in the moment. For me, it feels just like easier just to be always ready for shit to hit the fan at any moment. Like I'm always in fight mode. I'm deleting thousands of photos from paint parties off my phone. It's about time. Anyway, so yeah, different people have different preparation modes, but I don't like, and Carl from the Hamburger Guy, whatever it is, who are these podcasts? He's a guy, because this one of the things that your friend Tom sent was he was devastated by somebody throwing an ad lib moment. Rich Voss, I think it was, throwing an ad lib moment. It wasn't pre-scripted, not prepared. It wasn't something that it wasn't part of his script, and it fell apart and crashed and burned because of it. And the girl that Tom Myers sent the video of, she was talking about how he was crying at the bar, like, you're not going to tell people about this, are you? It's like, to be that level of everything has to go according to script, that will, to me, that destroys any kind of fun in
well, I'm not saying everything has to go according to script. I would like it if things went according to script, but my thing is I try to be prepared for when it doesn't.
Yeah, see, I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about Carl.
I know you're talking about Carl, and fuck Carl. I don't want to talk about Carl. No, he's a.
Wait, you don't love Carl?
No, I don't really know Carl, but for what he does with for what he does, he's just
yeah. But that whole idea of, because I think, and this is what I think Tom Myers might have said this to me, that he not only scripts out his own experience, but he does it for everybody on the podcast. Like he gives them notes about questions or comments to make. When I get to this point and I say this, you make this comment. Like, come on, dude. Why do you even have people there? You might as well just have fucking AI robots. When I say this, you say this. Is it a fucking teleplay or is it a fucking conversation? Like, yeah, people have no, and then he, sorry to get on him, but then he talks about, those guys have no chemistry. You think you have chemistry? because you have scriptness. You have actors reading lines off of a screenplay. That's
Well, the one thing that is burning in comedy right now is the amount of podcasts that are out there, and essentially because they're just doing it because it's a revenue stream.
it's almost like comics feel like obligatory now. Oh, I'm going to be a stand-up comic. You got to have a podcast. It wasn't. When did that become a thing? Like you had to have one. It was part
Or
of.
they need another revenue stream. That's it.
Yeah.
What's interesting for me is that when I started doing stand-up, it was intentionally to promote my podcast. And everybody made fun of me because I had a podcast. And now they all have podcasts.
Yeah.
Now, admittedly, most of them don't last beyond like 3 episodes. But I'm like, oh, you guys, and they're terrible podcasts. Most people can't podcast for shit. I'm sorry. Just because you're a comedian doesn't mean you can be a podcaster.
Yes. Yep.
It is. I love podcasting. And as most people know, I am the world's greatest podcaster. So therefore, I thoroughly enjoy it. And my podcast is awesome.
You're not number one in science, are you?
I personally am number 1 in science.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know if you know that. I'm number 2 in Norway for a comedy improv. So thank you, Norway.
I'm number 2 in the toilet bowl.
Yeah, I should come on again with you sometime, John, if you're a little more structured this time.
Fuck you, instructor. Yeah. You were high as a motherfucker. What did you care?
Yeah, you said you didn't get the point. What's the point?
Rod was high. I don't know why Rod was high anyway.
Why is he?
Well, I mean, I was, but I was like, what are we doing here?
What is what? Somebody once yelled at me, why does everything have to have a point? I guess I don't know. Maybe everything doesn't have to have a point.
The one this week is going to be kind of fun because this week I am going to, and this is, I guess, synchronicity because I messaged my folks. We have to record early this week. We usually do Thursdays, and we're going to do tomorrow. And usually they each have their own segment. And I said, well, don't have a segment. I'm just going to do my segment because we're going to be talking about it the entire time. And it's the one of my favorite conspiracy theories, which is the whole, Lyme disease is the weapon of mass destruction.
What is the conspiracy? That it was invented on Plum Island or something?
Yes. Yeah. So we're going to do that. And then I didn't know that RFK was spouting off about it again. It's like, that's weird synchronicity, but yeah, that's what we're going to do tomorrow.
What is the motivation there? If let's just say this for the sake of argument here, that the conspiracy theory is true. What's the intent? Like,
there is none. It would be the worst biological weapon you could use. So your symptoms manifest years later,
and it's not contagious, right? You can't spread it to another, right? So,
you made it entirely tired. Everybody's tired. They can't fight there. We're already tired. We get up at freaking 5 a.m. Fuck off. Yeah.
We want to eliminate people who want to wrestle deer. Is that the point?
It's so dumb because all of it's dumb with any of their theories. Because I'm sorry, these conditions were here long before the United States was ever even a thought. So it's completely stupid. But yeah, we're gonna have fun with that tomorrow because it's one of my favorites.
Chutzpah. What's chutzpah? Or did I miss what chutzpah was? This was not too long ago. Chutzpah. What's a chutzpah? That's a Jewish word. I don't know if you know what it means, but it means.
And most people pronounce it wrong.
That's right.
They say chutzpah.
All right, time to say goodbye now. Ron was extremely quiet today, very quiet. But I don't know if you're going to be here tomorrow, but we have rappers coming on tomorrow. I yelled at the guy online, like, your people just refuse to give me how am I supposed to promote people? And they don't tell me, you should know who I am. My name is D-Funk or D-Future or whatever. No, I never heard of you. I'm sorry. Am I supposed to know something about you? Because I don't. And if I Google you, nothing comes up. And why am I having to do all this work for you to be on my program? If you were famous enough for me to know about you, you wouldn't want to be on my program.
Ooh, right? Can I come on as a rapper? I rapped in high school. That would be actually a fun set if I come on like
Michigan is the land of white rappers, isn't it? It's
we have Eminem.
Yeah.
And you have Eminem, and you have what's his name, Kid Rock.
Fuck Kid Rock.
But he is from
Ain't
Michigan.
no
He's
fucking
Detroit, right?
rapper.
He's a Detroit. Well, he started as a rapper.
It's another person who's like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm a hillbilly. I'm a redneck. Blah, blah. Motherfucker, you grew up like in Warren. Shut the fuck up.
And he was like he was a wigger, right? He was one of these guys who was
a fucking rich kid. Shut the fuck up.
Kid Rock is the definition of cultural appropriation.
No, I was just gonna say the same thing. He basically
From rap to country.
He made his fame and fortune off of appropriation and being like a black guy wannabe. Oh, I want to prove that I'm black on the inside. Yeah, but and then now he's turned completely. He's become a racist. Like, how do you go from wanting to be black to hating black people?
Because he comes from money. He was raised on money.
Yeah, he's raised on money. Piece of shit.
All right,
piece of shit.
So that's our final word on Kid Rock.
Yeah, fuck Kid Rock.
All right. So tomorrow we have rappers on. I know D Future is one of them. I forget the other one.
Actually, it's really not so much about Kid Rock. It's more an indictment on the people that listen to country music. You just don't know any better. Do better as a people.
Or listen to the old shit. This is a Willie Nelson, for God's sake.
I feel personally insulted by all this. But I'll get over it, I think. And I'll get over it easier than I'll get over that terrible gig from Saturday night. I'm going to fucking torture myself forever on that thing. And just, I'm sure I'm going to hear from the paint company saying, you ruined the guy's phone? I didn't do it. Yeah, it's not my fault. Like, he wanted more paint. He wouldn't stop. More paint. I think I used 2 gallons of white paint. Like, generally, I will use, like, on a party like that, maybe half a bottle at most. Oh, God. Anyway.
Well, if you want true joy in your life, you should listen to my podcast, Matt. That'll make you happy.
All right. And when this came out last night, right? Or this morning or something?
Yeah, yesterday morning.
Yeah. And is this the one with the porn stars on it?
No, this one was not funny because I was near tears talking about Rob Reiner. So, yeah, listen to ones before that.
Oh, the Rob Reiner.
Did you have Elizabeth on there?
No, Elizabeth was supposed to be on, but then because we didn't do it all about Stand By Me because of Rob Reiner's death, she was not on.
She's also had some, this is why she didn't show up here on Friday or whenever she was supposed to be here. Had some serious, like, family, that's just stuff, when you're dealing with elderly parents and stuff and as things start to go wrong, it consumes your life and wears you out. So.
Yeah, that's why you should just smother them with a pillow.
I know that.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see if my mom is actually going to make it past the holidays, or is she going to go out this week, or maybe New Year's Eve?
Oh,
you should ask her. Ask her what her plan is.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom, are you sticking around for holidays, or what's your plan?
Should I get you a gift?
The problem with that whole thing is, the holidays every year they're going to come around, and the holidays could be, a depressing time for some people. For me, it definitely is every year anyway. And the last thing you need is to compound the depressing time of the year with a sad memory. Wait until the summer to die. Everybody should wait until the summer to die.
Yeah, everyone should just die.
The summer solstice is a good time to die, right? I think.
Well, it all depends on how you view death. Also, you could. I mean, I know with Carol and I used to have on Memorial Day weekend. We used to have a cookout for the family. It'd be like maybe 75 to 100 people there. And we had a table where people just put pictures of the people who had passed during the past year. And we would just honor them. We'd have a good time just the same. We'd all be having a good time. And if we felt compelled to, we'd tell stories about the person, good stories about the person. Well, stories in general about the person, who passed.
Yeah. You know that pastor?
Oh, yeah.
I remember that. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so that's it for today. And tomorrow we move into an eternity of rappers coming on the show. We have 2 tomorrow. I think we have 1 on Wednesday, 2 on Friday, and then forever and ever and ever. Rappers. I almost feel like, dude, space them out a little bit. Let me get some dopey authors in here and comedians and musicians or something.
That's pretty good.
Well, I'd say when I say musicians, I'm not trying to imply that rappers are not musicians, in case anybody just have heard me say that, because that's not what I said. Is that what I said? Did you?
I don't think any of this is going to be awkward at all when I watch it while I'm working.
All right. So I'm going to end this thing by telling people, if you want to hear rappers, the best thing you can do is to turn on your radio. Bye for now. Have a great day.
listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now.